People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
Am I live? I'm live again. People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in. Twitch gang, one love to you lot, because we just come off a fantastic live stream. So if you was there, large up yourself. Welcome, YouTube folks. Please make sure you're smashing the like button. Can we get to 100 likes? Most importantly, it's Monday, innit? Good morning to those of you like myself in the United Kingdom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. I hope everyone's in good spirits. I hope everyone had a great weekend, had a great week last week, and this week you're ready. And I'm wishing you lot all the best in terms of your goals, hopes, dreams, ambitions, aspirations, overcoming hardship. As I always say, you ain't got health, you're dead, innit? And I'm sure you lot say it as well. So wishing you lot continued or better health and all those sort of things. So yeah, one love to you lot and all the support you guys give me during seasons, during the off season, etc., etc. Nice transfer business. We don't know if these transfers are going to happen. Truthfully, we probably not. But it gives us something to talk about. You know, again, we're all, every day, we're doing this daily Gabriel has this thing. We're all somewhat kidding ourselves with Gnabry, but where there's hope, there's a way. Bellerin's been linked with Roma. Gabriel has spoken about Gabriel Jesus allegedly moving to Arsenal. We've been linked with Lucas Paqueta, who I would love, you know, Samba skills, Brazilian, can play as an 8, probably more better in a 10 or out wide. You know, not sure if that's specifically what we need in terms of a number 9 or a striker, but he brings us up a level. He's got creativity and all those sort of things, and you know, that's right up our street, really and truly. So yeah, I hope everyone's good, man. Still banging in the same goal from a distance, you're right. Big up the Twitch ones as well. As I said, we just come off a live stream where we spoke about, you know, make sure you're following on Twitch, where we spoke about the Champions League final. We spoke a lot about Arsenal. We spoke about Ralph Rangnick. We spoke about just about everything, man. Phillips is south of 30 million for me, English tax included. I mean, you're better off just going across the channels and finding counterparts that are not as expensive. I would like Phillips. I wouldn't mind Phillips in the squad, but pardon me, these lot carry a premium that at times it isn't always worth it. Isn't always worth it at all. So yeah, I'm just trying to make sure we don't miss out any other transfer news, people. Apparently we'll still want Baroya, mate. You lost it. So people just making sure everything is there. Any questions, talking points, anything, just get them loaded and ready, people. It's football.london saying. Lucas Paqueta would be a class addition. Leon needs the funds. I mean, that's probably why we're getting linked with half of their players. How long until they start linking us with Dembele, the forward and whatnot? Come on. Finna start Nottingham Forest fan TV. DG George, do your thing, man. Gonna need one. Part of B. So yeah, man, gonna need one. Let's get straight into the transfer business. Why wait? Apparently, David Ornstein has said the priorities are Gab Jesus and a new deal for Eddie Nketiah, man. Yo, DG, do you think we could settle with our defense if we got 2 forwards and 2 midfielders? Well, yeah, I'm not being funny, but we just spent 50 million on Ben White, you know, 16 or so million on Tomiyasu. That takes it about into 60 odd, 30 odd when you go look at Ramsdale. You're touching almost 100 million when you factor in Kieran Tierney, what Gabriel was spent on and whatnot, even though it wasn't under Arteta. It's just like Tierney as well, to be fair. If you sprinkle in Saliba, 27 million, I'm not being funny. A lot of money has been spent on that defense. You know, and for me, I would want some more money spent on it, because you could throw in Tavares is 8 million, but I would want another 20 million euros spent on Aaron Hickey. I would like another backup right back. So yeah, man, a lot of money's been spent on that defense. It should be better than what we're seeing. You know, again, respectfully, I do think Arsenal have improved defensively, but mathematic wise, statistics wise, and actually in terms of cheap mistakes, switching off, and definitely the goals we've been conceding towards the latter end of the season, I couldn't say that to you. And if I'm real with you, let's be honest, there's teams that probably don't have better defenders than us, but they're better defenses. And you saw it at Leeds, at Brighton. You see it at Newcastle right now. I think if any of these players that are in our first choice back four or elsewhere, you would see them look a bit more solid pause at other clubs because we're not really respecting defending. As I said, when you don't score goals necessarily, regardless of what statistics say, when you don't necessarily keep clean sheets, regardless of what statistics may or may not say, you're not necessarily going to win as many football games as you want to or as your fans want to, do you? So it is what it is, really. So I wouldn't say I'm on our first choice 11 when everybody's fit. I'm prepared to maneuver with Ramsdale, with Tierney at left back, with Tomiyasu, with two of the three of Ben White, Gabriel, and Saliba. So I would say, yeah, but boy, we're not going to see a better defense until we change our mentality. And you're not going to see a better defense until the midfield sorted. And you're not going to see a better attack until the midfield is sorted. So midfield has to be our priority. Edu and Arteta, you are both midfielders at this football club under Arsene Wenger. One of you is an invincible. One of you on top of that has come out of La Masia, been at PSG as well. As a post-playing career hobby, worked as a coach. So it's you know what midfielders should be, you know what midfielders should do, you know how important midfield is to the modern game anyway. So it is what it is. I don't think we're getting two forwards. I think it's Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah's emergence, like Arsene Wenger is saying, like a new signing and done. Maybe we get a backup, maybe we get a backup winger or someone with the ability to play up front as well as out wide. I don't know. But I just feel things have shifted. Like, I don't feel we're getting a backup right back. I don't feel we're getting a backup striker. You know, it should really be two strikers, regardless of what Eddie's doing. You know, I wish Eddie all the best. Seems like he's turned the corner in terms of his development somewhat, but there's expectation now. 38 games. My target to Eddie is, you know, if you play 20 games in the league plus, I need 10 goals in the league from you. You know, as our backup striker, if Gabriel Jesus, if signed, is the number one, you should be able to get 10 goals, Eddie. You know, in my opinion. Gabriel Jesus, I need 15, 20. Any less than that, we shouldn't be bringing Dons in. And saying that, his goal record is something that nobody really talks about goals when they talk about Gabriel Jesus. They talk about how selfless he is, how he's one of the best pressing forwards and all of these things, which is great. But no matter what, strikers have to score goals. You're only worth a certain sort of amount if you do not score goals. So, yeah, man, I think it's one striker. I think it's one midfielder. El Nene, new deal. Xhaka's there. Lokonga. I don't feel we're bringing in 2 8s. I don't think we're going to bring in an 8 and a 6. I don't think we're going to do a little Basuma and a Telemans and a Ruben Neves or something like that. You could say there's arguably a reason to bring in 3 midfielders, but it's probably not realistic. It's probably dreamland. So, yeah, man, probably just have to settle down in that regards, really. And it's probably just, I don't know, man. Something just tells me 4 or 5 additions, excluding Matt Turner. I think we will get one striker. I think we will get one midfielder. I think we might get a backup left back. And then I think that's us done, really. There might be a winger arriving, but I can only really, if I had to put money, I don't know anything, I would say probably just 3 additions. In my head, I would like 2 strikers, a couple of midfielders, a couple of fullbacks, and maybe arguably a centre-half. But I just feel it's one midfielder, the Telemans, the Gabriel Jesus. You might get Aaron Hickey or someone to play left back because I think the club said they're happy with Cedric's performance over the season. Lol. Fair enough. So I think it's that, really and truly. Do you really think this club's going to leave us without replacing Aubameyang and Lacazette? To be fair, what are we replacing with Lacazette? Because I don't think Eddie does it to the way Lacazette does, but I see him doing what Lacazette's doing, dropping deep, you know, not as physically strong, but drops deep into midfield, plays little neat 1-2s. What is there to replace with Lacazette? Aubameyang, yeah, goals. If you're going for Gab Jesus and you've promised him the number 9, so that's that, really and truly, isn't it? My prediction, Gnabry's agent is using Arsenal to get him a better deal. He'll sign a new contract with Bayern. I mean, we've seen that before, man. Shout out Matt, shout out the members. Probably, man. Best bang for buck transfer from last summer for Arsenal. Andrew, I would say Tomiyasu. I'd say Tomiyasu. Obviously, he got shagged with injuries, but I'd say Tomiyasu. At a point, I would have said Ramsdale. I would say Odegaard. I can't lie. In fact, boy, it's between Tomiyasu and Odegaard now, you know, because I think Tomiyasu's been a breath of fresh air. He has been injured. At times, Odegaard has underwhelmed. I do think he could run the game a bit more for Arsenal. I do think he can improve physically and needs to improve physically. I do think he could score a lot more goals. I do think, forgive me if I'm wrong, Odegaard's got 7 in the league, which is more than I thought. I think out of all the dumb things Arsenal have done for years, I think Odegaard's value for money is only going to get better. I'm not saying he's going to be world-class, most amazing guy in the Prem, but I am impressed with that. You know, 36 appearances in the league, 7 goals, 4 assists. Now, you want to see, I would say, 10 and 10, you know. Really, Smith Rowe took half the season off and he hasn't got too many assists, and that's not far from Martin Odegaard, really. And I think even if you get a number 8 for Martin Odegaard, or you get some movement with the striker, you'll see a better him, you know. You do see on occasion him and Saka's neat little 1-2s, but I think Odegaard has to peel out to the right-hand side too much, which our strongest attacking side, regardless of Saka, is probably our left. And again, you get a midfielder, Saka, Odegaard, the striker, whoever, they stop dropping into our own half consistently, really and truly. You reckon? I don't know. I think Tomiyasu's been more reliable than Odegaard, if I'm honest with you. I'd probably say it's out of Odegaard and Tomiyasu for me. I still maintain 30 million for Ramsdale is a good bit of business. Probably overperforming in the early panniers of him getting in the Arsenal team. Positioning needs to improve. Shot stopping, near post. There's bare things that can improve in Ramsdale. But I really do like the addition of Ramsdale. Early last summer, I would have said Lokonga, but obviously we've seen how that script has gone. Yeah, I would say him. And least value, I'd say Tavares, because I'd say he's the one where the jury's arguably, well, Lokonga as well. And to be fair, at least Tavares could say he ducked United. He was part of the Chelsea drilling, even though he made mistakes. I would say Tavares is the one that concerns me the most, despite the fact it was spent for 8 million people. What's the best way forward for Leno? Princess, to keep it moving, innit? 200 of you locked in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people, at 45 likes. Keep it moving. Like, you're not going to play, you know? Kevin Trapp's having a good season, and that's cost you a place in the German team. He's obviously won the Europa League. He's going to be playing. You know, Ter Stegen and Neuer, shoe-ins, you're not playing ahead of them no matter what you do. So that one there is a myth. So needs to leave. And when you look at him, Bellerin, Torreira, it seems like they want to leave. So hopefully, as much as it's about Arsenal moving these guys on, hopefully, you know, the club can, you know, the agents can do their job. Sorry, people, but if I didn't make it clear, on the topic of Odegaard, 7 goals, 4 assists this season, people. 9 goals and 7. I'm looking at another statistic. 7 assists, 9 goals in 60 appearances for Arsenal. Bloody hell. Odegaard's played 60 times. Obviously, he was here on loan 60 times for Arsenal. Depending on how fit you stay, you could easily play 100 appearances for this club. If you played every Premier League game next season, you know, that's 38. And then you just got to play 2 other games and it's done, innit, really? So we'll have to see, man. I'd say that would be it, man. In terms of value, we did well last window. Can't think of anyone that would go lower this window than what we paid for them. Still need to offload some players like Torreira and Guendouzi. Probably Lokonga. I do think you can get your 8 million back for Tavares, but I'd be trying to do lower than that. I don't trust this board, but surely after Torreira, Bellerin, Ainsley, Pepe, Nelson, Guendouzi, Leno, and potentially Xhaka sells, there should be some extra change. There should be, but I don't know for sure that Pepe is going to leave, even though he should. I don't know for sure Nelson's going to leave. Guendouzi's gone. Leno probably gone. Not sure what's going to happen with Bellerin with the wages and everything that's at play. Ainsley needs to get his agent to do a job and go and find some way he can settle down roots. We're probably going to sell him at a cut price, so that one there is one. I don't think Xhaka is leaving, but again, there is going to be some point across this summer where obviously he's going to look a shoe on that he's going to go play in Italy, innit? So we're going to have to watch that space. And really, would I advocate Xhaka leaving without necessarily bringing in certain players? I'm not sure. As a business, I hope Arsenal did the wise thing, including a sell-on clause in Guendouzi sell to Marseille for how little we sold him. And the saying Odegaard. I think I would be in the majority here, but I would be tempted to make a cut price bid for Luka Jovic. Bringing him in could be like Odegaard last summer, might give him a new lease at Arsenal. It's true, Graham, but again, I don't like to rule people out of without having a conversation with them or off rumours, but he seems like he can't behave himself off the field, so it's probably going to get wrapped up, really. It's probably not one. With respect, Arsenal fans were patient in January, and our club didn't bring anyone in. But letting go of players cost us when injuries hit. Are you confident on a summer window? I'm not confident in anything. I'm confident in what I can see. What I will give the club is last summer you moved. There was a need to bring in players, and you had a decent summer, so I'll give you that. But you know the season starts earlier. We've got more games. We all know the problems Arsenal had. I just hope you've made your bed and lied in it properly, because as much as I like what Eddie's brought to the table, I like the signing of Gabriel Jesus. I've made a video on it. Go and check it out. We've spoken about in terms of goal scoring. For someone that speaks of 90 to 100 goals, I'm not expecting my two strikers to get 50 between them or anything close. Is Gabriel Jesus known for goal scoring? He got 8 goals last season. Maybe with a platform he can do it. Is Eddie Nketiah known for goal scoring necessarily at the top level? No, this is probably in terms of games that mean something, Eddie Nketiah's best privilege. I know he can bully cup games, Europa League, Europa League. If we were in the conference, I'd have no worries. The FA Cup, the League Cup, Eddie Nketiah has shown us for years he could score in that. Since he started starting, he's shown us he can score goals. And I don't want to be harsh to him, because I count when he got his start against Chelsea or whenever it started as when his season really started. But when you look at his statistics this season, again, you can't disregard it. Yes, it's very difficult when you're playing 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 12 minutes, 30 seconds to really impact the game. But he hasn't got a solid body of work for scoring goals. I hope they can do it, but we're betting on a lot. I keep saying this, and we've done it last season. We're doing this youngster thing, so it is what it is. But you're betting that Smith Rowe and Saka produce in the league. They got 20, 21 goals between them, 11 and 10. I think Smith Rowe got 10, Saka got 11. Hopefully that continues, but I can't confidently say that is going to be a thing. Listen, I think Saka's going to play well in that, but they're learning to score goals. So I don't know if you're putting up the numbers. I don't know if Gabriel Jesus with an opportunity does or doesn't put up the numbers. I don't know if Eddie Nketiah starting as being our second choice striker does or doesn't put up the numbers really. Because again, even though we're being harsh to Eddie Nketiah, 5 goals in 21 appearances and 1 assist. Now, throughout the course of the campaign, he only played 826 minutes. Put things into context, people. Eddie, in 92 appearances for Arsenal, has 23 goals. In the league, he has only struck 10 times in 59 appearances, people. As I said, I count it from when he starting from the Chelsea game. So, yeah, he's probably got like 5 and 6 from when I count it, but he's got 21. Yeah, he's got 21 appearances, 5 goals to his name. Gabriel has 8 goals this campaign. In terms of the league, I don't know what he's got as well, but I can find out for you. We spoke about it. Well, yeah, 8 goals and 9 assists in 28 appearances. Not the worst, but not the best. In the Premier League, there's 68 goals between them, really, if I remember correctly. And it said Eddie had 10. Gabriel Jesus has 58 in 159 appearances. So that's 58 goals. I'm sure Eddie scored 10 Premier League goals, it said. I could be wrong, but so let me actually go all the way back. In the Premier League, Eddie's got 10. So 58 goals between the 23-year-old and the 25-year-old, where we're trying to get towards 90 to 100. All right. Are we making up the numbers, really and truly? And then you throw in the young players, the Martinelli, who had 6 in the league. I think he had 20 goals between 21 goals between the young Halem boys and Smith Rowe and Saka. Odegaard got 7. Everybody can do a lot better. Is it enough goals to fire you to the Champions League? I don't know, because a big part was obviously Kulusevski, Son, and Kane's numbers for Spurs. A big reason as to why United are even as poor as they were, even in their position, is because they had Cristiano Ronaldo. Liverpool, obviously, they can talk about their season, but Salah scored 20 goals and kind of went walkabout. You had Jota, who wasn't getting any ratings. You had 15. Mane, who doesn't really get the clout he deserves with double figures. And it's difficult to find these players, but we need to put up numbers. We need to score goals. We need to keep clean sheets. These are 2 elephants in the room, clearly. So I'm not too sure on how we're going to do that. But it's one where we're going to have to see 71 likes, people. Let's keep running that up. So, yeah, man. Fans are going to be on to, how it is. You saw it. The minute Smith Rowe and Saka had a bit of a wobble in terms of form, fans turn on them. You know how it gets, man. Fans love Xhaka, El Nene, and Partey and all these guys. Tavares 1 week and then the other. It's a very volatile situation, really and truly. That's why I would love Gnabry, because obviously he ain't got a solid body of work in terms of goals in the Prem, but I've got, at least someone with him with the ability to play where he wants. At least you're sharing the workload. Sorry, people just making a timestamp. I mean, he could develop, but I mean, I'll give Tavares every chance. Not everyone's going to turn decent. For Tavares, it's more of a thing. For me, anyways. You need to learn how to think. Like, I'm sure you've all seen his interview. It's not that I'm a genius, but how all season I told you, I bet you any money at 16 years of age he became a fullback. And he said that in that interview. You can tell that is someone that spent his whole life playing further forward. As it came towards scholarships and pros and making that leap, someone connected to Benfica said, you're not going to make the grade as a winger. Why don't you become a fullback? For Tavares, for me, it's more of a thinker's thing. In terms of physical attributes, he's got everything you're looking for a fullback. He gets in behind. He tries to go forward. You know, he's all right. Like, he's nothing to scream and shout about, but he's all right. It's a thing because you don't think. You know, you respectfully, he doesn't think like a defender. He doesn't cover the space well. Sometimes, a lot of the time, he's caught high up the field. You know, he's a liability in defense. Really, like, you can't really afford that. That's why for me, I'd rather go and get a more conservative fullback, hit the loan circuit, do what you're doing. If he makes it or looks decent, great. If not, 8 million can turn into 16 and keep it moving, really and truly. Do you think it would be beneficial to loan Lokonga to Burnley? If Company gets the managerial position, the Championship might toughen him up and get regular football. Yeah, it would make every sense. Prefer to him to play in the Premier League. Prefer to keep him around. I think there's games for him next season. But yeah, there is every logic in him maybe being exposed to a loan. He's a winger. If he's a winger, respectfully, then it's time to keep it moving. In my opinion, if he's going to be a winger, it's not going to happen here. You can waffle to me about it's an option off the bench and that, but no, bro. Clip that one there. I don't see Gnabry staying at Bayern, especially if they get money. We'd have to wait and see, man. We'd have to wait and see. With Man United reloading, the emergence of Newcastle, this window is of the utmost importance. I mean, you really telling me clubs are trying to improve upon last season? This is something that's going to happen. Just do what we're doing. Blessings, DG. Would be underwhelming if only Jesus and Eddie and potentially a winger like Gakpo. I hear that. Guimaraes can convince Paqueta. For who? It won't be for us. It's not going to be for us, is it? So yeah, we'd be in a bit of a pickle there, wouldn't we? Really, 200 locked in, 78 likes. You lot are slacking. Unexpected high bills. No Arsenal signings if that like button is not patterned. So yeah, man. What else have we got here? Sell Leno to Napoli or swap deal for Osimhen, living in dream world. Personally, I think Tavares has got good potential. Maybe bad season, but I think he needs a chance. I mean, I do think there's a player in there, but I haven't got time to see it. Not every project needs to be seen. I would love to be proven wrong about Tavares, but even on his best games, he's shaky, really and truly. You know, it's going to cost us too many points. We need to factor in, as has shown, not just Tavares. Everybody's made mistakes. We've got a young squad. They're going to cost us points. Strikers, like you saw against Southampton, we're not going to take our chances. Sometimes Gabriel, Ben White are going to do stupid shit in defense. Ramsdale the same. Saliba, if he plays, the same goes for everyone. But some are going to do that more than others. And I think Tavares is one. I'm sorry, but as much as it's about tomorrow, we need to get 3 points. We need to challenge for the league. I mean, when I say the league, you know what I mean, top 4. We need to go as far as we can in the FA Cup. We need to go as far as we can in the Europa League. If it's not the final, anything less than the final and winning it is failure, really. There's games for Tavares, but could it be worth loading him out, bringing in a more conservative and more switched on fullback? And it is what it is, because again, if anyone, I hope to be wrong, but if anyone was betting money, can you bet your bottom dollar that Tavares isn't going to have to deputize for Kieran Tierney at some point next season? Maybe potentially with Cedric at right back. Obviously, where Partey is concerned in midfield, you know, the mitigating factors on top of everything in terms of our man management, our game management, who was signed, who was gone, you know, our ability to cope with injuries, which every team, it happens, you can't complain, has been an issue, you know. Tavares has cost us points, and we win, lose, and draw together, you know, even on his best of games. United, shaky, even though he played quite well. Chelsea, shaky, even though he played well. West Ham, shaky, even though he done all right by his home standards. And not to mention the numerous trips away from home where sometimes he's been deserted. I look at Nottingham Forest, I look at Selhurst Park, I look at Anfield, I look at Old Trafford, you know, really and truly. We've been down this road. It's nothing to do with criticizing him. Come on now, like, Really and truly, like I want to see it change, you know. But I'd say for Tavares, it's more. It's nothing to do with really ability. It's you need to think. You don't, as a defender, you've got to think. He's a bit of a loose cannon. I'm not really here for it, man. Bellerin and Ainsley Maitland-Niles put some cash, can give us Tammy, but not banking on it. But it would be a smart move. Why do man always call for Jovic? Immediately done. Surely the board would learn from last year not to do deadline day transfer business. I don't want to hear another excuses about not enough pre-season for new signings. To be fair, who did we bring in on deadline day last summer? To me, I swear all these guys were in fairly simple. Obviously, you had the Euros that affected Ramsdale and Ben White, but Ben White, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, pardon me, Tavares seemed like they were wrapped up very early. And in January, we had a quiet deadline day. We didn't try to do much. So I hope we don't go to deadline day, but I'll give the club that. I don't think we relied on that. Come on, big up a dash of sports. Good morning / afternoon, deluded. Hope all is well. I think you meant to say I'm locked in with my bowl of cereal. Shout out to you, man. He just needs to master the art of defending. Yeah, but mastery takes years. I just need you to think, oh shit, I'm caught up the field. Let me tuck in. Your reliability. And to be fair, your teammates look, you know, I know he bigged up Xhaka and Gabriel away from home. Their liabilities at times as well in their own right. They're not the most switched on defensively, but you could see they don't trust him, really and truly. There's just some players that not everyone needs to be a project. I hope Tavares does this thing, but my patience is thin because it's nothing to do with him personally. I'm not saying to sell, you go out on loan and that, but what we're trying to do, and the gloves are off for everyone. Money's been spent, new contracts there. Best place finish under Mikel Arteta, 5th place. We played really one game a week, even though you saw that fixture list is still going to be, there's still games coming thick and fast. Injuries are still a thing. And we only played one game a week because we went out at the first time of asking in the FA Cup because we didn't have a squad. Obviously, Corona affected us, but we were light. And we got savaged against Nottingham Forest. I'm not looking forward to Nottingham Forest away from home. The gloves are off. As much as it's about tomorrow and potential and there's some building blocks, man need to be getting 3 points and showing significant improvement, really. And the players, like, obviously, I don't think any player is trying to play poor on purpose. I don't think anyone's not trying to improve. But I'm sorry, me with limited resources, who is not as a footballer, how many examples did I just list of where Tavares has let himself down? You can go and watch these things again. And that's not just him. There's several players. Ben White, tail end of the season. Gabriel, if I'm honest, Gabriel is my centre-back, best in the club quality. But you're making some mistakes that you made when you first rolled in. I know old habits die hard, but it's now time to start learning from them. You know, even Cedric, you're a big man. A lot of what Tavares, I criticize Tavares for, you do it as well. Specifically caught way too high up the field. There's always going to be in a dangerous scenario when we had to rely on certain players past a certain point. You know, Liverpool gave Nat Phillips his credit and stuff, but you hardly see him playing 20 games and that. I couldn't even tell you if he's still contracted to Liverpool. I just remember him doing a Cruyff turn last season against AC Milan and he's disappeared off the face of a map. So, yeah, man, end of the day, Tavares is a deputy. And I don't have faith in your ability to be the deputy, really. Unless the game goes a certain sort of way. If it's an emotional game like United was, where both teams are a bit shaky and things are going on and it's just one of them mad games, then he thrives in chaos. I actually like the chaos factor about him, you know, but it needs to be molded. It needs to be contained. Yeah, it's just, bro, we need 3 points in it. I need players that I can trust. And I wouldn't necessarily say I trust him. Big fan of Lokonga. I wouldn't say I necessarily trust Lokonga. But Arteta, he weren't your signing, but you sanctioned it. We're doing this youngster thing. Not everyone has to go and do what Saka and Smith Rowe and Odegaard and all these other young players are doing. Just has to become a half competent option. And if not, nip it in the bud. Because sometimes signings don't work. Nip it in the bud immediately. The gloves are off next season, firmly. Smash the likes, people. Get up. Subscribe, roll to 50,000. Follow the Twitch links in the description. Come on. Crazy, man. Why am I not liking the stream? I don't know. I'm not against Suarez, but it's, man, what? Luis Suarez is probably too late for that now, man. As great as he is. Player back free, you get a better Tavares. Of course you do, you know, because you take the defensive shackles off him. But no matter what, back 3, 4, whatever, you need to be able to do well there. You need to be able to defend, you know, because your centre back and you have to communicate. You're still going to get caught up. Give Tavares a chance, but Crazy, man. I want 80% of our transfers done by pre-season saying, but at this point, I just want the Dons in, man. DG, I know you're a fan of Ruiz. Would he be a Xhaka replacement? Because according to some, he's irreplaceable. 100%. Everyone wants Champions League football, but it doesn't put food on the table. Money does. Just go out and pay the peas. Don't want to hear all the excuses of Champions League. True. Tomiyasu deadline day. Fair play. Yeah. Stand corrected. Yeah. Fair enough. That was one that ran over. Tierney and Partey cost us top 4. I wouldn't say that. You know, the mitigating factors with injuries. Tavares is 1 year younger than Tomiyasu, and if you compare them in terms of footballing brains, it's night and day. But that's where it's education. How many games has Tomiyasu played in Belgium, at Germany? Again, Tavares is learning football at Arsenal Football Club. I literally went through all of these things with you when the man signed. I said he looks like someone that's become a fullback at 16 years of age. I said the alarm bells with you lot should start ringing. The man himself is coming out in the interviews on Arsenal.com, and he is not mentioning a single facet of the art of defending. He's talking about shooting with his right foot. At the time of the video, I remember it specifically, he played 21 times for Benfica and got this £8 million move. So he is learning, unlearning bad habits, relearning. There's bad habits that are just in his game, bad habits he's probably picked up at Arsenal, bad habits he's probably had at Benfica in his whole career. He's relearning the art of defending. And the thing is, when you're doing this development thing, you can't develop all of these players because obviously you can't, like Arteta's got an impossible job. You can't develop everybody and spend 100. There's no real time, really. You know, you've got the first thing is the team. And 3 points. That's the most important thing. So you need to find a system. We all know what Arsenal need to improve. You need to find a system that works. Then you've got to break it down and say, boom, how do I improve this guy and that guy? Obviously, if I'm leading a session on the art of defending, and that's the whole 20-odd players, and I pull Martinelli out and say, come, let's go work on some finishing drills. That takes away from other members of the team because I might be giving Martinelli an hour. That's one less hour for Tavares or whatever. Or if I spend a day with Tavares, I'm mitigating from other players. Or if I tell a coach to go and do that, I'm mitigating from other people. So it's an education thing. Like obviously, if we go and look back, where's Tomiyasu? Let me go on transfer mark and go and look at Tomiyasu's appearances prior to Arsenal Football Club at 23. And to be fair, you know, are you sure about that? Wait, Tavares is a year younger than him. That might have to go to VAR. Really and truly. That might have to. Because is it real time or is it one where you can be a year younger than someone, but you're actually in school, well, in England, you actually, you know, you might be in year 11, you might be in year 9 sort of thing if you're born in September and things like that. So what? This season, Tavares played 22 times for Arsenal Football Club. He's played 28 times for Arsenal. Sorry, people. He played 41 times. I stand corrected for Benfica. So that's you're touching over half now at Arsenal. So he's relearning stuff, people. You know, sorry, where I got the 25 from. He played 25 times in the league for Benfica, 22 times in the Premier League. Now, this is a man that's learning football. This is a man that's learning, people. That's where you have it, people. Obviously, Tavares just turned 22. You know, 21. He was 21 in January. He's born in 2000. Bloody hell. And then you've got, you know, Tomiyasu, who's born in 98, November of 98, people. Prior to signing for Arsenal Football Club, he's coming off the back of 64 appearances for Bologna. In his homeland, 56 appearances, I believe that is for Avisa for Coupa. I don't know them dons there. And that might not even be in his. Let me verify. Yeah, that is in the J League. And then obviously in when he played for St. Dresden VV, again, forgive me, my Belgian fans. You're coming off 41 appearances for the football club. So he's got over 100 career appearances before he's touched for Arsenal Football Club. And he's played 22 times for Arsenal, Tomiyasu. So that's the footballing education. There's still tough. Tomiyasu needs to improve, but that's the difference. It's literally, you have it there, really, don't you? So, yeah, man. So much talk about the future. The present is the present. Exactly. You don't know what you do in the present sets up the future. The past brings regrets. The future brings uncertainty. There's no time like the present. I know there's new deals and all these things being handed to Dons, but you need to do things today to set yourself up. 114 likes. One love for that. Can we begin the assault towards 200 people? Is Gabriel Jesus and Eddie good enough to lead the line in all comps? I have some serious reservations, as we should. I'll give I didn't know Ramsdale was good with his feet. I knew he was a decent goalie. I didn't know he was good with his feet. We brought him in, so I'll give the talent ID a chance. But again, to a degree, it's a bit unfair on Gabriel and Picard. They ain't shown they could do it. Edu said we're bringing in quality, and the only quality we're linked with is Gnabry. Jesus. Telemans is just potential. Bit harsh, you know. I do think there is talent in Gabriel Jesus, and I do think Telemann has shown it for years. If we were after Vlahovic, why didn't we push for Darwin Núñez? We must have been told a firm no in January. Shout the Twitch gang. Big up DG. What improvements do you want to see from the manager next season? Flexibility in tactics. And I'm not necessarily talking about 1 minute, 4 at the back, 3 at the back. I'm saying just little tweaks. As obviously, you do see Tomiyasu dropping into midfield. Xhaka was used as a more advanced 8. But I would say flexibility, because I look at the Newcastle game and the Tottenham game, you needed to be flexible. I do think you was unnecessarily flexible against Graham Potter's Brighton, but you lost that. So, yeah, I would say be a bit more flexible and adaptable and less naive. Yeah, man, really and truly, I would say, yeah, I would say that's the main thing, really. I would want to see more better game management and man management from the players, and that's a reflection of you, really. I respect us fullbacks, but we are failed wingers or failed centre back. I mean, I still play on the wing, but yeah, it is. And some are a bit centre mids and whatnot. So yeah, man. I don't agree with one moment cost us top 4. We all did. If we talk in relation to how he was maneuvering on the pitch, our immaturity, game management, man management, reacting to setbacks, naivety played a part. Clearly, injuries also played a part. In hindsight, the way we started the season, January, you know, that 3-game period where we played all the bogey teams and lost all of them in Brighton, Southampton, and Crystal Palace. Obviously, you know, still were awarded chances, you know, inability to break down low blocks. Despite all of this, you know, was still presented chances to get top 4, found a way to mess that up as well. As you see every year, you have to try very hard to not get top 4. It's a race for the inconsistent. Everyone's fighting for 4th because they're not consistent to nail it down or do beyond, you know. And Chelsea are lucky in the sense of they have their problems, but they have problems, but everyone else has got more. You know, Chelsea are closer to United, Spurs, and Arsenal, I feel, than at least at this moment in time, than Chelsea and Liverpool. But then, you know, Chelsea's worse is somewhat better, is some way better than, you know, what Arsenal's providing. So yeah, this is what it's been. It's just like on the Emirates season. Oh, we finished a point off it. No, it wasn't, because it was the same thing. We could not break down low blocks. Again, it was another game where we fucked up at Crystal Palace at home. Also, we cannot forget inability to hold on to leads. Crystal Palace at home, Everton away, Man United away. And I'm sure there's other examples as well of an inability to do that. So there's many things that can be solved with recruitment. There's many things that we need to deal with on the coaching ground. And as I said, it's all about the thinking. In life, if you ask yourself better questions, your life's going to be better. You know, we need to show street smartness. Granit Xhaka himself has said that, you know. How many times do we do this emotional thing? And some of it is because of youth. Some of it is because of inexperience. Some of it is because of naivety. But that only goes so far. You're playing enough Premier League games. You're seeing the same script pan out to know what you need to do. It's a good little timestamp. What's the time? We'll make that into 39:10. All or nothing for Mikel this season. No trophy or Champions League in his curtains for me. I hear that. But is it really? Because you're in what would you say would be year 2 of Arsenal's 3-4 year page? Because when we get away from the disappointment of not getting 4th, 5th, they would have taken that in August. So obviously, if you get 5th 1 year, the logical step should be, all right, man, I'm trying to get 5th, and beyond next year, we're trying to actually get 3rd, not just talk about it. We're trying to get 4th. I don't know. So is it that? I really don't know. I don't think there's as much expectation internally on anyone at this football club as much as our fans. And to be honest, I do think that's one thing we have to kind of, it's sad, but have to accept, really. So, yeah, man. Would you, man, go for Suarez? I mean, he's a bastard, so why not? But he will start looking his age at Arsenal Football Club, innit? Tavares needs to be a quick flip. Trust. I want to give the man a chance, but come on, man. Is what it is. Trust. I slapped the mic for no reason. And that's one thing I like about Núñez. He has a carefree spirit, but at the same time, it's brazy. I mean, with Eddie's development and Gabriel, as I said, when Gabriel's this, I do like him, Brazilian bias, but in terms of goals, I always try and judge a team on how are we at our worst. Can I expect Gabriel Jesus to get that goal if if he's playing very poor? I don't know. For all his pressing and whatnot and pause, and I like him, you ain't got a CV for goals for Eddie and Nketiah. Can you slug it through for Saka and Smith Rowe? Listen, big up the Halem boys. Smith Rowe kind of fell off in the second half of the season. Saka fell off literally in May, burn out the young lad. But at their worst, is it fair to rely on them? We have to look at our team at our worst. You know, it's not just about at your best. How many times did Liverpool and City have to come back from behind this season? Not too many, but yeah. You know, City at their worst was arguably when we played them at the Emirates. They still won. They came back from behind. Another game, I'm being harsh on that one, but we didn't get through. We've got to look at us at our worst. What are we like when key players are not performing or if there's injuries? And you have the answer to that, really. Of course, everyone's going to struggle, but we need to find a mitigating balance. We're very bipolar in that we're very good or we're very bad, or we're very good in one half and we're shaky in others. We need to chase that perfect performance. We need to, for me, actually, I think a big reason as to if I felt earlier on in this season, we were starting to crave clean sheets, something I want. You have to love to get clean sheets. I think we kind of moved away from that. The set piece strip, we started to concede a couple of goals from set pieces, and we have improved offensively and defensively from that. But as you know, there's still a long way to go, innit? You have to question the medical department. What's your thoughts on the potential signings like Aaron Hickey and Spence? I mean, I don't think we're getting Spence, but he's welcome to sign. Games in hand need to correlate to actual points. Lots of talk about signings. How about the players we already have? What do you expect from Martinelli and Saka next season? As I'll keep saying it, Martinelli, sorry, you got 6 Premier League goals, so your finishing needs to improve. And I think if Arteta didn't give you chances early on, but you need to be getting 10 Premier League goals, trying to get that sort of thing. Saka, 10 and 10. That's what you need to get close to, really. You got 11 goals. Smith Rowe the same. Try and get towards 10 goals, 10 assists in the league. And if you can get thereabouts and you all kind of have similar statistics to go with Odegaard chipping in and hopefully this next striker scoring, then it is what it is. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm personally very proud of Saka and Smith Rowe. I think in the grand scheme of things, Saka's for Arsenal had a 20 million out of 10. I can't ask the lad something more. I can break down it. I would like to see you learn to take some corners. I would obviously like to see, I still think your finishing can improve and whatnot. But you've carried this club on your shoulders. So Bukayo Saka has carried this football club on its shoulders, for large parts of the season, showed great consistency levels, scored goals, obviously, been a match winner for us, put this club on his. I can't really ask Saka anything more beyond the obvious. And to a degree, the same goes for Smith Rowe, really and truly. Saka had a fantastic season for me, and he can look back with a lot of pride, really and truly. The problem is now I expect that. You have, as I said, you're still learning to score goals, but you show me you can get double figures. So I'm not going to ask what's going on. When Kane was still feeling sorry for himself about not going to City, people are asking what's going on with the goals. Respectable figure. Salah, was stuck on 20 for a second. People were onto him. Ronaldo, anytime Ronaldo doesn't score for 2 or so games, he's falling off. He's a bad character, things like that. I can't ask anything more from Saka. I really can't ask more from that. Smith Rowe, the same logic. I can't ask more from him beyond the obvious. Your finishing could be better. You kind of fell off in the second half of the season. I do think your injuries kind of made you lose that fluidity and being able to play all the time. So I can't ask anything more from Bukayo Saka. A testament to this football club. Proud to see him play for this football club. Got my blessing to leave when the big boys come for you eventually. So I can't ask anything more of that young lad beyond the obvious. Pepe does need competition for his place, like everyone at this team. But whether they're going to get that is a completely another debate, really and truly. Pepe is our only natural goal scorer. We can't score goals yet. Pepe can't get more than 15 minutes. Oh, I don't know if Pepe is a natural goal scorer, but fair enough. Kroenkes are glad we would have got 5th. We would have got exposed in the Champions League. I'm not sure of that because, even if you don't advance through the group stages of the Champions League, you get more money than if you get to the final of the Europa League. So make of that what you will from a financial point of view. Big up DG. What do you think of Thomas Lemar? I think he would be a great Xhaka replacement. Reminds me of Thiago. I mean, Lamar definitely doesn't remind me of Thiago. I don't know what Thiago that is, but fair enough. I mean, the boat's kind of probably gone. Decent player, not really kicked on. Do like him a lot. Was really on the hype train once upon a time, but would take him. But it seems like that one's gone, man. We need to go all out for Europa League, win the competition, and get the route back into the Champions League, especially if we're struggling to get into the top 4. It's a winnable competition. I'm interested to see how the team handles pressure situations. There'll be more fan expectation. Brother, we ain't won a game where it's been the nighttime games on a Monday this season. So you said it yourself. You know, if it's a football thing, the sun is shining. I think Arsenal can have half a job. When we played City and lost, when we beat Spurs at the Emirates, you know, when we beat United at the Emirates, the sun weren't shining, but you know, it was a bookie sort of game at Stamford Bridge. Games like that, I got full confidence. It's when the fans are on it. It's when it's really just a fighting thing. When people are exerting themselves physically. That's when I have it. I need people to show for the ball at St. James's Park, at Brighton away from home, at Crystal Palace, at Southampton. You know, we at a time we was doing all right away from home, but we flattered to deceive. That's what makes the difference. I'm proud of our home and away support. I'm proud of what we did at home and the improvements there. But yeah, when our backs are against the wall, when it's not something we planned for, we need a plan to mitigate against that. And yeah, right now we don't seem to have that. And that's one thing, you know, if we get into a scenario where you can rotate and rest the likes of Partey, Tierney, Tomiyasu, Saka, Smith Rowe, etc., when needed, they're going to obviously return a bit fresher. Obviously, if you charge your phone's going to operate a lot better in it. I don't know about you lot, but when my phone starts getting low or my laptop starts getting low, it starts moving, moving slower. Sorry, people. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm interested to see that as well. I think Arteta is safe as long as he gets owners fourth to say. I mean, if he gets 7th, I mean, I think that's a myth. You know, the only way you would save yourselves is if you win Europa League and get 7th. If you don't finish within the top 6, for me, within the top 4, but I would say if you don't get top 6 next season, not that again, it should really be if you don't get 4th or get close to that or and the obvious improvements, then I think regardless of new deals, writings on the wall, like you've kind of done what we've wanted Emre to do, rightly or wrongly. You've got rid of certain characters. You know, the wage structure looks a bit healthier. Young players, look, there's identical and potential in these players. Maybe we could get some, because I do think, again, I think a more seasoned manager gets top 4 within that definitely that last furlong where we threw it away going into the Spurs game. As much as I like Arteta, I think a more experienced manager does that. I know Arsene Wenger towards the end didn't get top 4 and he can't come back. I honestly think Arsene Wenger within that period from January to May or whenever you want to minimize it, I think he gets top 4 this season. You know, I think a more experienced manager at times gets a lot more from certain players and does a lot better in terms of game management and things like that. As much as I like Arteta, I'm an Arsenal fan first. I don't think we should sack him at this moment in time, but it's not Arteta or die trying.
I didn't get that.
No. I don't know why Siri's trying to chat to me. We're not boys. Talking to my friends here, mate. Getting involved for. Why do we have fitness problems? I don't know, man. How many signings do you think we'll realistically sign? I don't know, because I don't know. If I had to make a bet, maybe 3. If you want to count Matt Turner, then yeah. But I think, you know, Jesus / a striker, Telemans, midfielder, maybe a backup left back. I think we need more than that. But yeah, man, Pepe looks like he's leaving. And I mean, if whoever's here next season and they're not playing, you've got yourself to blame, really. Car, I'm not being funny. The vast majority of everyone connected to Arsenal Football Club, 100%, you know where you stand in that squad. I'm not saying some people can't come back and prove the gaffer wrong, but you know where you stand. It's just over 1 year between them. Tavares is a 2000s baby, and it shows. I hear that. Interesting points, people across YouTube and Twitch. Big up you lot. Twitch gang, don't forget 4:30 we're playing FM. Bring Gnabry home, inshallah, my guy. I even forgot about Marquinhos. I'm not trying to count that car. Again, I'm not trying to count him and Matt Turner, if I'm honest with you, because I don't really count them. Like, Marquinhos is a potential guy in it. Like, hopefully he can be amazing and things like that. I don't know what he's on though. You know, Hickey, I hope it's almost done, but until I see medical or Arsenal fans are tracking his flights and things like they did with Torreira, or looking at gardeners like they did with Gabriel signing and windows and shit, I don't know if he's signing for us. So I can't really comment on that, really. I hope it's 6-7 signings, the right guys, but yeah. Our chances of winning Europa are higher than getting top 4. I don't know. How can we say that at this moment in time, my bro? How can we say that? Let me make that into a timestamp. Europa or top 4. How can we say that? Because we don't know. We in Arsenal tax. You're not going to get the little Frankfurt run. You know, somehow Real Madrid are going to, even after winning the Champions League, they're going to drop into Europa now. I'm making a young joke, but we don't know who we're going to get in the champion, who's going to drop down from the Champions League. We don't know the context of the injuries and if we'll improve in high pressure environments. We don't know if the manager's going to play a false 9. We don't know any of that. I agree with the premise, but I don't know that. All I do know is you've got 38 tries in the Premier League. You've got 38 match weeks to get top 4. I don't know technically how many rounds it is to get Europa League. And let's just say knockouts, because I would really look at Arsenal funny if we do not get out of the group stages in Europa. You don't, respectfully to the competition, you don't have to, you know, you don't have to take it seriously in the group stages. You can play El Nene, the young tugs, them can play all of these sort of things. So yeah, you need to fight for both. We're not that, obviously we're a cup team and definitely have been in the numerous years. I love the FA Cup, but I couldn't say we're that cerebral done. Like, you know, Jose was going to get that Conference League, or you see that times when he got Europa League with Man United. I don't think we're that cerebral, that educated, that experienced enough to be able to sit here. But again, as you've seen, the other teams are going to get improved, like we should be trying to. But you've got 38 tries. I've always said this debate, like, go for both. Just go for both. If there comes a time when we sit there and we look at it and say, oh, you know what, Europa is looking a bit more tangible, top 4 is looking a bit more tangible, this is why you need a squad. There's going to become that inevitable time where it's a big Europa League game. We've got a top 4, we've got the Prem. People are going to say, do we throw this, or do we do this? Do we rotate, or we rotate this? You need a squad. That's all I could say. People can run their jokes at Liverpool, laugh at them and things like that. Sorry, people, I'm putting my phone on charge, because how am I going to be in the gym? People can laugh at them and all of this, but you need a squad. They got to the enough finals and whatnot. Really and truly. Avoided Roma and Man United, at least for sure. We're actually going to get out the group. We'll get out the group, but that's about it. We conceded more goals last season, but we apparently fixed the defense. Exactly, statistically, it's crazy. Spurs are defo clinching 4th. I hope not. Our youngsters will improve. The question is if Arteta's learning curve will be enough to keep up with them. Very interesting one. The involvement of all fans in the transfers this early shows how critical this season is. If Gnabry comes back, who's getting dropped? Whoever's playing shit. Simple as that. Now, make sure it's not you, innit? It's a mandatory, bro. You need to, bro. I'm not going to lie. The expectations are dead, really. I wouldn't even say Conte overachieved. I wouldn't even think Arsenal getting 4th is overachievement. I get it and it makes sense and I agree, but overachieve for what? If I'm a footballer and I retire, what am I going to tell my grandkids in 2022 I finished 4th? Yeah, they were 9th, they were shit. Conte has shown that, you know, his experience over Arteta and keeping his bottle and things, but overachieve for what? They got the best striker in the league, arguably. They got one of the best left wingers in the league, arguably. You know, I expect to see that from Spurs. You know, we're Arsenal flipping football club, you know, as much as we can hide behind this youngster tush. We have not got top 4 because of ourselves. It's nothing. We can keep crying about refs and this and that and save wages off the bench, but we let ourselves down, whether it was because of how we started the season, not doing things in January, obviously this last period, games we couldn't break down low blocks, games we're conceding cheap goals. Whether you want to blame the manager or the players, we all win and lose together. We're all in this together. We all did not get top 4 because of us. The fans, them excluded, because I think the fans home and away, real man of the matches this season, and obviously everyone else who supports the thing. So it's all air, bro. I was thinking about strikers in the league. What do you make of Jimenez from Wolves? I like him, but allow it, man. Allow it. I'm not really for that. How comes we make the same mistakes every year? Flirt with players all summer, sign them last minute, then complain that the players take a while to integrate. That's one Arsenal Football Club would have to bring to you, man. Big up DG. In my opinion, we could sign 3-4 strikers. But if they have no service and they aren't one-man goal machines, there won't be no goals. We need at least 2 ball-playing midfielders, a right wing-back and a left wing-back that can rip it up. I mean, Tini's not being appreciated for some of his assists. But you're right, still. Until the midfield's addressed. And again, it comes back to coaching, signing people's after job. Finishing fourth would have been overachieving. We need to be realistic. I don't know about overachieving. We can't hide behind that because it was attainable. Fair goal shift. Of course, the dynamic in August was in that, but it was attainable. You know, it's about your ability to perform over 38 games. Before you talk about other clubs and whatnot, if we arrested our problems, we'd be top 4. But ifs and buts are not facts. If Salah turned up, Liverpool might be winning the Champions League this year. It didn't happen though. Pepe would have banged under Wenger. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Reece Nelson, Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, Matteo Guendouzi in particular under him. As a West Brom fan, it seems Smith Rowe isn't in Arteta's starting 11. Is that true? Well, towards the tail end of the season, he weren't, was he? Between Martinelli's form, Saka being undroppable, he wasn't, was he? But there was a point where Odegaard had to hold bench last season. Do your job, man. We are in this together, man. Would you go big for Paqueta? What is big? Pause. I hope you're doing well and safe, man. My family's all good. I'm all good. I hope everyone's doing blessed. Thanks for that, actually. You're a cool guy, man. But it's not 8. Well, I don't know. But yeah, you know what? Forget going over Eddie's way. Crazy stuff, man. He should be in this starting play. He's got the number 10, man. Hopefully he does his thing. Pardon me, would you take Paqueta over Maddison? Yeah, but I would love Maddison. I like Ainsley as well, but I like my football club more. I mean, there's a lot of love dramas and whatnot, man. With the players Conte had, he didn't overachieve. I think he definitely clawed back Spurs this season. It just shown when a manager keeps their bottle, when you act in the transfer market and address weaknesses, when you drop out the shit dons and play the guys that you can get something out of. Self-explanatory, isn't it? Really and truly, like it's literally self-explanatory. It works itself out. We'll have to see, man. I know David Ornstein is saying 1 striker plus Jesus, so all that matters. Arteta, you better have a plan. As I said, Arteta sat there himself and said we need 90 to 100 goals. You know, we'll have to see what's going on. Didn't we say there's 50 or so, 58 goals or something between Eddie and Nketiah and Gab Jesus? So give them a platform, give the young players a platform. But Arteta is going to have to be held accountable. I'm not really going to hold the players accountable beyond the obvious. You're betting on these guys. The gloves need to be off next season. So, yeah, man, family is what it is where that's concerned. Winning the Europa League should be the target. Need to start creating a culture of winning. Trust. Thought that was going to be that. Saka Arteta give DG the dub. Nah. I mean, yeah, man. I can't do that. Our 12 million, I'm hearing what we doing. Get it done, really. But there must be something wrong. Renison, start selling programs. Well, in fact, he probably end up dropping the programs when people are giving him changes. But Renison, get a job around the Emirates. Become a steward. Become a program seller. Or go elsewhere. Renison should not be a thing. And whoever decided to sign him, you know, whoever watched his, because one man didn't come out and say we should sign Renison. People had to have watched his videos. Anyone that was in that office needs to sack themselves. We've got 400 of you locked in, and we still only got 175 likes. Pattern that up, man. What's going on there, man? I think Gnabry must stay at Bayern Munich. Nketiah is a third choice striker at best, good for early stages of European football and cup competitions. We should go for Osimhen or Nunez as a primary striker. I mean, we'd love to, but it seems like that boat sailed, man. Really, seems like it's gone. Maybe we'd have went for 2 strikers with Eddie and Nketiah busting out, but yeah, it seems like that isn't the case again, people. So we're gonna have to hold it. Just gonna have to hold it. I'm trying to see a Giroud type target man come in alongside Jesus. Smash the like buttons like Ella said. Come on. Appreciate that. Eddie has to prove why he's getting 100k now. I've kept the faith and I think he will shine. I think he will, but bro, like it's impossible. But I want how I used to feel with a prime Aubameyang, how Spurs must feel with Kane, how City must feel with Haaland now, or just in general, you know. How United must have felt with Ruud van Nistelrooy once upon a time, how I felt with Henry. I just would like, in August, I'm sat there, I know my striker's scoring. I don't know how he's going to do it, but I know where the golden boot is. He's going to be in and around that. I don't know for these players. And I'm just talking about the 38-game calendar. Then you've got to factor in the latter stages of the Europa League. Then you've got to factor in the latter stages of the FA Cup. Who's got that? Who can do that? I don't know. And I mean, I criticize the players in a healthy way, but at some point, I can't really get. I personally will not necessarily get mad at Eddie or Gabazis for not necessarily scoring goals. It will frustrate me. I'll ask questions, but your CV isn't strong enough. You've never done it. If I hire you as a chef and I know you can't cook and you go and burn my kitchen down, I can only blame myself. I did dickhead things. Like it don't make sense. Would you go big for Paqueta? It all depends on the price tag. Hey, what a twat. I mean, it sounds brazy, man. I mean, until it's announced on Arsenal.com, I don't know. It seems to be moving forward, but who knows, man? Until these things are announced, Eddie could technically still leave. It's still firmly in the balance. Then I take it in it, really and truly. Let's start getting into the transfer news and whatnot. Hey, spammers, allow me, man. It's Monday. Go and do something productive. Come on, man. You're acting. There's no need for that. Let's have one. Let's spin the block one last time for transfer news. What's come out in the last hour? In the net, you know. Apparently, Nottingham Forest plan to bid for Spence as well, which could have ramifications on probably Tottenham or United. We seem to have moved away from that. It's crazy. Lautaro Martinez has been linked with Chelsea, which does come to London. He's just not signing for us, isn't it? Really. Wouldn't mind Ruben Neves at all, really. Welcome to it. Let's start with Sky Sports and see what they've linked us with, or what they're doing, really. Let's see what they're saying. First things first, Arsenal transfer news and rumours summer 2022. Let's refresh the page, in fact. Eddie staying at Arsenal and finalising new deal. Eddie Nketiah is now set to stay at Arsenal, with one source telling Sky Sports News he is finalising the details on the new contract. Eddie's current deal is up in the summer, and it looked increasingly likely he would leave, with Crystal Palace and Borussia Mönchengladbach both interested in signing on a free transfer. As you know, Arsenal have been linked with the following names. You know, we've been linked with Spence, who Tottenham are set to pip us for that. Arsenal and Newcastle United's hopes of signing Fabian Ruiz have been given a boost after he turned down a new contract offer made by the club. Neither club are in Spain or Champions League football, can offer him competitive wages, could probably sell him an interesting project. But I'd be real, and there's obviously the law of the Premier League. I'd probably wait out my contract at Napoli, even though they don't want that, if it's just these two clubs. If, you know, it seems like he's waiting to see what Real Madrid and Barca are doing. It seems like Barca are signing Tuchemani. I mean, Madrid are signing Tuchemani. I don't know if there's space for Fabian Ruiz, but yeah, would love him to sign. But yeah, man, it is what it is. Federico Di Marco, we've already been linked with the second as backup/competition for Tierney. Decore of Lens would be an interesting signing. We've been linked with him. Hasn't gone anywhere. Battles, all of these brazy. Look at all of these brazy things. He hasn't had chances. What are you talking about? I don't think you're talking to me. I mean, with Eddie Nketiah, we know you can score goals in the cup. We need 38 games now. We've already been linked with Zinchenko and Gab Jesus. I'd be all up for it. Would not mind Tammy Abraham. Cody Gakpo, one seemed to have gone away. We all know Lautaro Martinez, Sterling, and Samuel Umtiti are a myth. Ruben Neves, it seems like we've moved away, and it seems like it's a Telemans thing until a new rumor comes in. Aaron Hickey, apparently Arsenal executives met with Bologna, so we'll see how that one develops. Osimhen looks dead in the water, really and truly. Telemans, as we said. In terms of players linked with exits, Gabriel apparently is happy and not considering a move to Juventus. Eddie looks to be staying on 100 bags a week. You know, Arsenal and Benfica are haggling over at 8.5 valuation for Bernd Leno. Pepe was linked with PSG on loan, hasn't happened. William Saliba, you know, there's a tug of war between us and Marseille. Hopefully Saka signs a new deal, and then they signed one, and it seems like Eddie is close. So that's that transfer news, people. Apparently, I just saw this online. Torreira, Arsenal contract to the player and commission to the agent moves to square. Money at Arsenal, contract to the player and commission to be paid to the agent. Fiorentina's sporting director is working to put together all the pieces of a mosaic called Lucas Torreira. Google Translate not helping me. And to come to the conclusion that the Fiorentina fans would be happy. There's a ransom set at 15 million euros with Arsenal that Fiorentina are trying to lower because he's got a year left on his deal and you lot are broke. Then there's a contract to be signed with figures that meet the demands of the Uruguayan, who apparently turned it down, and his agent has been speaking. So hopefully we see something in relation to Lucas Torreira keeping it moving or getting a move somewhere where we can get a fee and he can enjoy his football, people. Away from that, Gabriel approves Arsenal's push to sign Gabriel Jesus from Manchester City. Let's see what our centre-back has had to say. He said, "We play in the same dressing room, but nothing is certain. He's certainly a quality player, and if he goes to Arsenal, he will help us a lot." Brazy. And apparently Gab has this on his future. The latest he said is, "I have a contract with City and I've already expressed my desire to the City people and to my agent. I have in my head very clear what I want," said Gabriel Jesus. "Today I want to celebrate a lot with City. It's obvious that I'm very happy here. Tomorrow, if everything goes well, for me, my wife and our family, Helena, his daughter, will come into the world," which, again, congrats, because that has happened. These are old comments. "So I have to take advantage of this moment, then think about the future. Think about the team, smile at the team again, and on vacation, I'll decide my future." I mean, this was the actual article it came from. Let's spin that Google Translate. Hey. What have you said? He's spoken about, I mean, big up him. He's spoken about his own time in Brazil, in the Brazil national team. He spoke about living in London. Fair enough. Gabriel Jesus, that's all he said. Bit of an underkill. Not really much hype there. Obviously, 442 are gassing it. Transfer Insider reveals Victor Osimhen move status. Arsenal have been linked with the Napoli striker. Arsenal are not in talks with Napoli over a potential deal for Victor Osimhen. Fabrizio Romano has told Court Offside that there are not currently any discussions taking place between the two clubs, people. So that one looks dead in the water, people. Gabriel has its Gnabry hype, sorry. Apparently, Serge Gnabry has not accepted Bayern's offer of 19 million euros a year yet. The club wants an answer from him, either yes or no. In the case of no, Gnabry should be sold this summer, and he'll be linked with a whole host of clubs. And you'd hope he signed for Arsenal, but there'll be a lot of tougher sporting projects, in my opinion. Arsenal are planning to make an offer for Lucas Paqueta. Samba skills, able to play as an 8. I would probably play him out wide or as a 10 or in a further forward position, but it would make sense, man. You should have got him when he's at AC Milan or prior to that. Lovely player. Get people off their seats, but I can't see it happening, people. Newcastle are also in talks with him. Discussions have been held with the player's reps. He wants to make the next step in his career move and dreams of a move to the Premier League. Are ready to pay club record 50 million fee to beat Arsenal to Lucas Paqueta transfer, people. As Eddie Howe looks to strengthen his squad, as this says, people. Which would be a madness, really. Be another Brazilian, so good luck to them. Gabriel Jesus, Arsenal interest, people. Obviously, Gabriel Jesus will see his Manchester City future resolved shortly after the international break concludes. That's the message from his agent, Marcelo Pinati, following suggestions that Arsenal will assemble an offer for Jesus during the upcoming transfer window. Tottenham are also understood to be in the market for Jesus. You're not going to really play at Tottenham, are you? You've got Kulusevski. You could play on the right instead of Kulusevski, or for Kulusevski. You lot could fight. Can we get to 300 likes? We're at 204 people, but there's a shoe-in for you at Arsenal. Allegedly, Edu's promised you the number 9. 12 goals and 13 assists. That's 8 and 9 in the league. So, yeah. we'll find out what's going on. At the moment, we're understanding all the projects. So right now isn't the time to say anything. Things will advance after his time with the national team. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens here. Roma have been linked with Hector Bellerin. Obviously, it seems that his heart is set on a move to Betis, but if not, you'd have to consider something else. You know, Betis won a trophy, as did Roma. After winning their trophy in 14 years, Roma already planning Jose Mourinho's second season in the capital. According to this report, they're looking to find a valid alternative to obviously who they've got. And considering they've currently got Ainsley on loan, that tells you, you know, Jose isn't convinced in his abilities as a right back. And they've been linked with people beyond the obvious reasons. So we'll have to see there. What the hell is this? Bellerin, a romance at idol. Betis and the player are confident that Arsenal will give in to their claims. The winger, desire to play in Seville could be key in finding an understanding. I mean, if they give us a decent fee and he rips up some of his wage demands, he can get what he wants, people. Bellerin wants Betis. Bellerin wants Betis too. Arsenal, meanwhile, await the footballer in London and opens the bid between the side suitors. Mikel Arteta assures that he has the footballer despite the fact that his place in the team is full of questions. Apparently, the English club reiterated its intention to have Bellerin for its next project, which is a lie, because obviously we're not going to come out and say he's leaving. You know, we're going to have to answer the media-trained way. He said, I'm willing to make any effort to continue at Betis, which, again, get it moving, man. You know, I'm pretty, you know, shout out to Bellerin. Happy to see you enjoy yourself. Quite excited to see the last time we'll speak on Hector Bellerin. Allegedly, Newcastle want to sign 30 million genius. Arsenal also interested. This is in relation to Nabil Fekir, which I'm not too sure there's any truth in that. Arsenal are also understood to be keen and were heavily linked last summer, but it's Newcastle making the strongest push. Fekir, a good player, you know, was in fine form, got 10 goals, 10 assists in 47. Can't see it happening, though. Exciting player, can't see it happening, and that's where that ends, really. What is this saying about Saliba? I mean, Saliba to Marseille won't go away. Saliba absolutely wants to stay at Marseille next season. I mean, you know where you stand in Sao Pauli's side and where you stand of him as a manager and as a player. You know, you got called up to France. There's stability there. They're playing in the Champions League next season. It makes sense. But it is what it is. Going back to Serge Gnabry, people. Liverpool will certainly replace Sadio Mane, and Mane still playing next season. This is Fabrizio Romano, but scrolling away from all of that. Latest on Serge Gnabry. Serge Gnabry's situation is certainly complicated. Since October, Bayern have been in negotiations for the extension of their contract and have made a new proposal of around 10 million euro net per season in recent days. Bayern have no plans to go beyond this figure. To date, there's no offer from Arsenal, but certainly Gnabry would be a top name on the market. Real Madrid have discussed it internally with Carlo Ancelotti in February, but have never made an offer. Their priority for the time being is to strengthen the midfield with Monaco star Tchouaméni, people. So make of that what you will, which makes it very interesting, that one. So, yeah, that's where Gnabry is. Yeah, that's Gnabry, really. Wan-Bissaka definitely ain't going to try and read that. Chelsea stance on clinical striker Arsenal want to sign. Well, this is talking about Broja. I mean, Broja's kind of fell off a cliff in the second half of the season, really and truly. People didn't do much. You know, the links went away. Can't really, you know, you've got Eddie. You might as well just work with that now at this moment in time. Arsenal have key bargaining chip for Tammy Abraham, and it's not Xhaka or Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Roma would have to be stupid to take money and Hector Bellerin for Tammy Abraham. Let's see if there's any other transfer news. It's the same old. You can't really go anywhere without seeing Gnabry or Gabriel Jesus. So they're the central figures. Obviously, you had Fabian Ruiz. It seems like the rumors that did link us once upon a time to Telemans have gone a bit quiet. Maybe that means there's progress in the works, but where we're concerned, that looks a myth. Arsenal have set a date for their new away kit, people. Close that. Looks wavy, innit? We're getting this coming out in July. Definitely getting that. But yeah, we've been linked with Lynette. No, man, reject that. Allow that. Reject all of that. Tottenham, Arsenal to battle for Barcelona defender Clement Lynette. Let's allow it. 26 years of age, can play on the left-hand side. That's why we're linked. Apparently, he's open to leaving. I mean, if you could get him on loan, why not? He's only been a bit part player and he's free to leave. According to Sport, the Catalan Giants are beginning to accept that a season-long exit may be the best solution for all parties. Arsenal and Spurs seemingly head the race for Lingnet, while Newcastle and Everton are admirers who could theoretically offer guaranteed first-team football. Barcelona want to facilitate an exit as soon as possible, with Kessié and Andreas Christensen having already agreed a move to the Camp Nou. So I think with that, that's Arsenal's rumours, but it seems like the bulk of them hot BS, really and truly, if I'm completely honest with you. So we'll have to see how these things develop, people. But for now, that is the transfer news in a nutshell. Really. Yeah, I don't want Isco, man. Appreciate that. Real Madrid do need another right winger, though. It doesn't. It makes complete sense, but maybe Gnabry says, he wants to run down his deal. Stream keeps lagging. Nothing I can do about that, mate. We're just gonna have to hold it. Probably everything's fake, man. That's why we're here to talk about it. Net's rubbed, man. What, Spurs getting Bastoni? But hey, it's a good sign. I'll be vexed. Can't be talking about Isco, man. That's a dead signing. I'm not really here for that at all. But we'll have to hold it. What else have we got? Not dreaming at all. I mean, the dream is free, but we're just here to talk about it. How many times? Whether these things happen or other things, mate. The dream is free. The hustle sold separately. I don't think we're not going to spend the bag on him, so it's irrelevant. Inter are going to want the bag. Bastoni has potential to be one of Italy's best centre halves if he isn't already. Now, there's no logical reason to take Isco. He's one of these poetry emotion number 10s. The game, and I know he can play as an 8. The game has left him. It's a madness. Like he needs a bit of love. He's injured. He's barely played. There's no minutes in the legs. The only dons I would take that there's inconsistencies with that. If there's a loan deal to be done for Pjanic, I'd explore that, and also Alpha Melo. Really, you take it up with Arsenal. I don't know. Omar Rekic to play Europa, maybe, but maybe it's best he goes out on loan. How many minutes are you going to play to significantly improve? Rubbed, bro. Rubbed as well. Wonder how much. They ain't got bans. 100 million for Nketiah. 100K, for Nketiah is a farce. Why are they always reporting bonuses? So sinister and always Arsenal. They're trying to sell headlines, innit? DG, do you think we could be looking for exits to sign players? What do you mean? I don't understand. Are you talking about letting people go without bringing people in? Yeah, and that's the age-old thing with the transfer market. You can't really sell without buying. You can't really buy without selling. Really. Gnabry will end up at Arsenal or Liverpool. Makes sense for all parties interested. I don't know. I wouldn't rule out Chelsea. I wouldn't rule out a couple of clubs. I wouldn't rule out a number of the top 6 sides. I know United didn't finish in the top 6. But I wouldn't rule them out either. I don't think he's signing for Arsenal. I want to be wrong, of course, but I don't think Arsenal getting him. I think we're being used for a new deal. But again, if you don't pay the man the bread he wants, or it gets past a point, they're not going to be involved in it. So it is what it is there. Obviously Spence, congratulations to his loan club, Nottingham Forest, who are in the Premier League, and I'm sure he'd want to be there. Nottingham Forest plan to make bid. Forest are probably going to be asking for 20 million. And now that they're in the Premier League, Middlesbrough, and now that they're in the Premier League, boy, it makes it difficult for Middlesbrough, to say sell him on the cheap. He won promotion. Pardon me. He's had a good season. Sometimes, he's flattered to deceive. I do think people look at him with rose tints, but he is a very good fullback. Nottingham Forest plan to bid for Spence to keep him away from the clutches of Tottenham and Arsenal and Brentford. If I was Middlesbrough, he's going to ask to go out on loan. Maybe it's best letting him go to Forest on loan in the Prem. You get a decent loan fee. He puts himself in the shop window. If he, on top of the good work he's done now, if he has a good season in the Prem, well, you're the real winners there, really. Or if you get promoted, you've got him. I don't know what you lot are on. Nottingham Forest, I'm sure he'd want to sign for you, but for Spence, I don't know. He's got a lot to consider. Middlesbrough might shag you and say, boy, you're staying with us. Forest might want to buy you. Tottenham, Arsenal, Brentford, they're all interested in you. Well, United as well. Arsenal, I don't really think I think we've moved away from Spence personally, because we've heard that, we're happy. Somehow, someone at this club is happy with Cedric and his ability to deputize at right back. So it seems like that one's gone. Or if we do sign a backup right back, it won't be this individual. So make of that what you will, innit? Like, he's had a very good loan. He's living the been among clubs tracking his progress, and Tottenham and Brentford are said to have made recent inquiries. A move to Brentford could be regular football, and obviously a move back to London as Tottenham could give. And I think you'd play a lot at Arsenal as well if you did sign. I'm all for it, but I just don't think it's happening, people. Crazy. And shout out to Nottingham Forest people. That's all it says in terms of the links. Bit of an underkill. Started, save that for the Forest fans, really, with all the other stuff. I thought there was gonna say some concrete evidence, but it looks like just a cheap way of selling the article, really. Promoted player that clubs are chasing, and not just him. You've got James Garner, who United fans want to see him in a United shirt. Could be worth staying at Forest in the Premier League for another season. Been linked with Leicester. Johnson of Nottingham Forest has been linked. Have you got a reason to leave? You're staying at Forest. Spence, again, his situation is techie for what we've just been speaking about, but arguably it makes sense to stay where you're at, innit? How good is Marquinhos? I don't know, because I've never seen him play, bro. Hope he's decent, but I've never seen him play. Do you reckon we could get another Edu interview when the season shuts from Jess Shreves? They probably will. One more year of Cedric. How is he the guy when he wasn't for Southampton a few years back already? I don't know. Apparently, Gnabry wants 310 per week. Not entirely sure about that. I mean, Arsenal need to use their brain, in it. We can't overgive peace. I mean, this attitude thing is dead, but I mean, his attitude, football's a funny old game because they say you've got an attitude problem. All I see is someone playing with complete integrity in a Forest shirt. I see someone that was reduced to tears because of what they've done for their club. And yeah, obviously, we've all seen that comment with Warnock, like, you're either going to be non-league or Premier League. He's bucked up his ideas, isn't it, really? So maybe it wouldn't work, but you'd have to speak to people around him, really. Until Guendouzi couldn't stop behaving, Arteta showed a willingness to work with him, Aubameyang as well, and then it went left, so maybe. But I like to stay away from that, especially for the IC3s, man. Prediction for the first manager to be sacked in the coming season. Not a clue off the top of my head, bro. Not a clue. We did scout Schumacher, and apparently we're looking at him, but he's set to stay in Italy. Yeah, man, Lokonga's a 6 more than an 8 for me. But saying that, I know the game was already won, but he did come on and play in Xhaka's kind of role. So maybe there's a future in there. They do always have Bayern always have disputes, always have wage disputes regarding wage. They do, but at some point they got to do a thing. Me too, bro. But how Arteta is. True. I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt until they act up. 227 likes, people. Can we keep it moving in that regard? Let me know when you are ready, bro. I'll send the link. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Art the Roche. Crazy stuff. Doesn't seem like there's anything else Arsenal connected, though. So, yeah, man. Obviously, on this day in 2015, Mesut Ozil was awarded man of the match as he won his second FA Cup for Arsenal. That was against Villa, right? That was the easiest cup final I've ever seen us play. And I've seen some L's with Arsenal in cup finals still. But crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. David Ornstein also said, as far as I know, Jesus and Nketiah are the current priority / plan. Now, benefit the doubt, he doesn't work for the club, but kind of take it as that's going to be that, innit? Bayern Munich, sorry, we've already said that already. But yeah, once again, Bayern Munich have been in negotiations with Gnabry about a contract extension since October and made a new proposal worth around 10 million euro net per season in recent days. Gnabry has not yet accepted the offer, and Bayern have no plans to go beyond this figure, people. And obviously, Kika said, which sounds inconsistent because Kika allegedly said Serge Gnabry is yet to respond to Bayern's contract offer of 19 million per year. Bayern wants an answer from the player should he turn it down or Gnabry be sold. So he's not responded to a 10 million euro net offer and then a 19 one. But I don't know how much that works out a week, but it sounds like a lot of wonga, doesn't it, mate? Like it really does. So we're gonna have to see how that one develops. Really and truly. But yeah, that seems like the transfer and he's dead. He's decent still. Why not? I think Hickey would be great. He's 2-footed. He can replace Tierney and Tommy if required. I hear that. Not gonna lie, giving Nketiah 100 bags a week, considering you're chasing Jesus, makes me think the club ain't confident in landing him. Jesus' wages aren't exactly cheap either. I think that's 2 and 2 and getting 5. But yeah, Sangria, I like him a lot. Picked up where he left off at PSV after, solidifying himself in the game over in France, innit? Come on, live from Planet X. Hope the gym session was great. Going gym later myself. Got to be better at handling players with attitude anyways, because half of the good players have attitude issues. I'm not, at least, to be honest, I don't care how much Gnabry does or doesn't make. It's nothing to do with me as a fan. Like, it's not my money. Well, maybe if I buy a shirt, indirectly it is. I don't give a crap, especially for young guys getting their money. I like, even if Eddie is, which I don't believe on 100 bags, young IC3 getting paid, I do not care. Living your dream, getting paid, I don't care. Where I do have an issue is, the ripping up Ozil's deals, Socrates, Kolasinac, all these dons, getting rid of Willian after whoever decided to give him one, giving Aubameyang a new deal after whatever. We're somewhat getting over it. And to be honest, with Bellerin's wages gone, Lacazette's wages gone, in theory, if it happens, Pepe's wage gone, Torreira's gone, Guendouzi gone, whether they earn big wages or not, added up, it frees up wages to make sure that you can redistribute elsewhere. Put some more cash down on Saka, Saliba, and Martinelli's new deals. Obviously, maybe allows you to get a big dog player who commands decent wages. So I don't know, man. If you're gonna give Gnabry 300 bags a week at 26 or whatever, then it kind of has to work. Or we're going over what we're going with. There has to be a certain point, but I don't know, man. I just pre-football. I don't know what's going on there. If Gnabry comes back, I'll get a mohawk. Fair enough. Get a pink mohawk, man. Make it exciting. Or something. Look like them. What's that game on FIFA, man? Pro clubs. You look like a pro club's done. But yeah, man. It is what it is in that regard, folks. Crazy stuff, man. Really and truly, we need Kenna. Eddie earns more than Jesus now. That tells you everything. How much you bench DG. 1 rep max 100/110. If no one's backing it, like 80. Everyone's like, we don't know. There's different bonuses, there's different goals. I don't know. I can't lie, I don't care. Like wages, the money that comes from top 4, money earned, marketability. These are all things that are valid in the game and realistic. Yeah, it is what it is. Trying, man. Fell off. When Corona came, it shagged me, but I used to be bigger. Pause. Like, got shagged. I need to get better at that, man. Come on. It don't mean that. Come on, man. Come on, the Lawson. Hey, what? Don't know. This is summertime. Is crazy. Summertime is crazy. Summertime. Oh Lord, don't gas me. Don't gas me. Stay professional. Stay focused. Stay professional. Stay focused. Stay professional. Stay focused. You're gassing me. 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 Man, I need to get the chest tat as well, man. To be fair, my arms kind of fell off. Like I said, COVID shagged everybody, man. When they locked the gyms, it was brazy, man. Barca are in the mud. Any of their players you take? Gavi, Pedri, Fatty, De Jong, all them guys there, man. Man said, put me on the wage bill. I 100%, man. 50 bags a year. I think that's calm. I don't think I'm asking for much. Good day to you, Grace. Come on. Eddie, Arteta really going to down this Eddie Hill. Sarr, Pepe's replacement. Your thoughts? One frustrating player for another. I'm not really on the Sarr hype. I think with Ismail Sarr, I used to be, and I've fallen off it now. I think he's one where I'm just gonna have to watch you go somewhere and think, what if? I'm not really with it. Still, another one that's is very raw. Gonna need a lot of time. Gonna need a lot of one-to-one coaching. You know. We lost to some of the lowest ranked teams in our league. I wouldn't say we can take easy in Europe at all. I mean, once it gets to the knockout stages, you have to move serious. Press ups are a very beautiful thing. Crazy stuff, man. We're gonna have to see what other things are going on. Keep their questions and whatnot. Camilo in top form, people. Apparently, Talisio leaves Bayern Munich on a free transfer. There's no agreement to extend the contract, and both parties have decided to part ways. He'll be available for a free. I mean, it sounds good in theory, but he can't stay fit. Applying the Arsenal tax, that's a madness. Crazy. Doesn't seem like there's anything. Crazy. Don't seem like, literally, I think we've covered everything. Slow news day, mate. Slow news day. Forcing the dispense links, the net links, running the Gab Jesus ones. My guy, say it, people. I'm trying to get my good mate Art de Roche to join us. If that's what you lot want, let me try and make a timestamp for him as well. Manuel Dennis is back up. Why not? It seems to be going West Ham. Do you think Liverpool will go for Gnabry if Mane leaves? Hey, shut up. Hey, sorry. But I remember this username. Shut up, man. You was trying to get onto me in my comments and saying, okay, you stop saying certain words. Don't ask me no fucking questions, you dickhead. Shut up. Come out my tick, man. You going mad. You're going mad. You're going mad. I always find that cheeky, you know. When I'm going I don't really pay attention to the YouTube comments. I like to reply to show love and that. Like, you get it. You were drawing me out for the way I speak and all these things. And you want to try to ask me questions, bro? Suck yourself, blood. Shut up, man. Shut up, bro. Don't ever be that cheeky. Shut up, man. I'm on this Xhaka thing, telling the fans to F off and that you lost it. You've lost it. Sorry, people, but no, I'm sorry. You get it. Shut up, man. Don't ask me no questions. Really? What did you say? Please stop saying really and truly. So unnecessary. Well, really and truly, I can't answer your question. Really and truly, leave me the fuck alone, mate. Sorry, people. Any brands looking to fuck with the guy? Did it again. Shout me, innit? Shout me. We can pattern. This is not me, innit? It needs to be said, innit? It just needed to be said, bro. Man, try to come back under the radar, you know. By all means, constructive criticism, but allow it, fam. Allow it. Allow it. I knew I recognized that 85. I knew it. And I got the receipts. Got receipts, blood. Allow it. Like I said when I replied to that comment, and I normally leave these comments just every now and again. Nope. Never. Cannot do. How I talk is how I talk. If you do not like it, exit the vid. Safe. Ask me no questions, man. Bro. Don't ask someone else, man. Allow it, fam. Allow it, bro. Allow it, bro. No on it. Stop it. Stop that. Stop it. Hey. We're here.
What's been going on?
Hey, you're here, Mr. Athletic. So I gotta be a bit more political. Nah, I just obviously I'm sure you probably get it in your articles and that. Sorry, bro. Let me make a timestamp. I had to make a timestamp. Where people criticize things, and by all means criticize constructive criticism, but don't draw me out and then bread me. It doesn't work like that. Like, what's going on? Like, you can't get onto me and then ask me a question, especially if it's the way I speak. Why would you want to hear me? It don't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense.
I just came into the studio and you were on violence, and I was like, "What's happening?"
I'm not violent. I'm not. What are you saying though, bro?
I'm good, thanks. Hopefully you're good. Hopefully everyone like in the chat and everything is good as well. Just it's still quite busy despite it being the summer. So hopefully I can be all right.
paint a picture, obviously, because like I obviously know what you get up to as a journalist who works for the Athletic and he interviews Reece Nelson and Miguel Aziz. I'm so happy he's here. He's got time for us people. He's a big timer. On the serious note, what is it like during the off season? Obviously, there's transfers, but during the season, you know, you're going to press conferences. You know what you're doing. You're doing the reactions to games, very detailed pieces. So like, what are you doing? You know, I assume transfers is one thing or something to do with it. What goes on now?
Well, I mean, you know me, like I'm not really too like big on transfers. I don't really, not that I don't care about them, but they're kind of they're there. So
really, yeah.
So obviously you'd have to do like, I guess, analysis on certain players and stuff like that, which I think everyone's pretty kind of attuned to now. And then aside from that, there's a little other few pieces that like you may do like a feature or something on a certain player or interviews and stuff like that as well. So just a few things that were kind of already in the pipeline, and now I've just got to kind of bash through it and actually get it published and stuff. But nothing too out of the ordinary, really.
What was the Emirates saying? I see you scoring goals, trying to give Arteta your CV.
To be fair, so the kind of content around that is coming out tomorrow.
Keep an eye on it, people. Come on, make sure you're following my guy on his socials as well.
And I only just I managed to sneak onto the pitch. I don't think I was supposed to be on it, and I was like, I saw everyone taking pens, and I was like, come on, I gotta take one.
Right,
so I managed to run on and take one.
Are you the reason Saka got better at that?
To be fair, I mean Martinelli's decent at pens as well, so we're starting to get a few in there.
All right, what was I gonna say? I'm being a bit selfish with these questions. Reece Nelson. Now, obviously, me and you are very passionate about Len. For Reece Nelson, his future is still subject to whatever in it. Like, there's every opportunity with more games next season he might play. Obviously, to a degree, the writing may be on the wall, contracted until 2023. Some would argue he needs to probably go somewhere where he knows where he stands and consistently. Where are you at with Nelson and his season? And what do you think the future holds? What would you want the future to hold for him?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think when, I guess you rewind a year back, he obviously was playing no football, no first team football for Arsenal. So this season was all about getting that consistency. And I think almost not, maybe blessing in disguise is the wrong word, but him getting that injury, that groin injury so early on in that loan, I think was probably a wake-up call really to kind of help him to set that season up as he did. So obviously for people who don't know, he got a groin injury pretty early on going out to Feyenoord, and then that meant he didn't start a game until December. In that time, you probably saw, hopefully it came across in the interview.
Go and check that out on the Athletic, by the way, people.
But there was a lot more focus on what he was doing fitness-wise with the sports scientists at Feyenoord, and I think that really helped him. And then he saw back end of the season, he was able to be just more durable, more available. And then with that, you just saw a bit more consistency in terms of performances. It's in terms of future, I know. So basically, when I was doing the interview, I didn't bother asking about that because I know
Obvious reasons.
like he's been asked about it before, and he's not going to say anything on it. So
You can't.
it
It'd
would
be
just
stupid for him to say something.
yeah, it would just be a wasted question. But I think from my point of view, as you mentioned, 1 year left on his deal, I think he's probably in a place now, especially after the second half of the season he's had, where he can probably be a bit more confident going into the summer. Whether that be,
Fact.
okay, if I want to move, then I can try and do that. If not, then he's probably highly likely not going to be a starting winger in the Premier League for Arsenal next season. But European football is there, and that can be an avenue to something better. So I think it's all about what he wants, really. Similar to, obviously, what's happened with Nketiah over the past year or so. And I think it's quite important to remember he's only 22 still.
A lot of these players, bro, I think it's quite ridiculous. Obviously, not everyone's going to be a world beater, but it's just funny how I think, especially with potential being the buzzword now, like you've probably seen it. If I'm 16 and I scored 2 goals, I've got all the potential. If I don't hit the heights by 18, I'm damaged goods. So I do think there's a little bit of patience, and I do think you kind of touched on it, you know, and it takes me back to Smith Rowe. It's like when you said about, you know, I listened to the interview, or better yet, read it. He spoke about doing yoga. Smith Rowe's talking about not doing Nando's. Martinelli's had certain sort of things. It's like the penny's starting to drop. I mean, we've all seen Eddie Nketiah's looking a bit physical, and I think his IQ's improved as well now. So it's lovely to see. Do you think, in theory, though, Nelson could get enough game time? Because for me, I think, you know, with Pepe potentially leaving, there's an opportunity here. But, you know, Gab Jesus may be arriving. You can play on the right. You know, there will be the Europa League. We do kind of just need to be getting 3 points week in, week out. Do you think there's enough, you know, let's even say making the Premier League squad? Because I think I badly want Nelson to make it here, but there's a little voice in me that says maybe it's probably best to go somewhere else now.
Yeah, I think what helps him is he can play off both sides. I think we saw...
Probably prefers off the left, innit?
I think so. This season he's played almost equal amount of games, or minutes, I should say, off both sides. Although when he was starting, it was more off the right. And I think going into next season, having that can definitely help. One thing I'd say is Arteta was a big fan of him when he first came in. He was playing him over Nicolas Pepe. And I think going into next year, you almost want to remind him of that if you're Reece Nelson. But that being said, I do almost see it as, okay, that's the first half of the season. It's pretty clear because there is Europe, there is the Europa League group stages are there. But then what happens after that? You don't really...
business then, yeah.
You don't want a repeat of last season where he just didn't get a look in from January onwards. But also, this isn't just a Nelson point, but just a player point in general. Just keep in mind what happens with the Premier League scheduling with the World Cup coming in mid-season, because personally, I feel there's going to be quite a lot of injuries.
5 subs as well.
5 subs too. So I'm not sure how, not just Arsenal, this is Premier League, this is European in general, world general, how big squads are going to have to be to remain competitive, because I do actually fear for just how players are going to be able to get through that. The players who are going to be playing in the World Cup.
Why would you, like, because obviously I know why, but like for someone that might not kind of get where you're going, like I would say you're probably saying that because, as you know, there's a lot of pointless friendlies. Like we've got the Nations League, we've got the season starting earlier, we've got the World Cup, and we've got to play the season. You look at Liverpool, they've had a mad season, pre-season starting quicker as well. You know, physically is one thing, but mentally recharging yourself must be very difficult. So what do you mean by you think there's more injuries and that?
Yeah, well, I mean, so even if you look at the Nations League for England in June, they have 4 games in 10 days. That's insane.
That's mad.
June 4th to June 14th, they have 10 games. So I feel like that alone, you just see how almost, I'm not sure what the word is, but how risky this can be, because you've got that, then you've got preseason on top of that. I think typically international players are given about 3 weeks break during the summer, and then they're back into club stuff. And I feel like obviously with the Premier League, there's probably going to be a lot more midweek games as well. So I feel like you're just going to see a lot of burnout from, say, the more elite players. And it's not something that I'm like wishing for or hoping for, but when you think forward like a few months, then it is a bit like, whoa, what is actually going on here? Because say if you take Saka, for instance, he's 20 years old and he's played almost 150 senior games. That's insane.
100 in the league as well next season. He's going to do that. Played every game available, even times like for me with Saka, I look back to the Liverpool game at the Emirates where Robertson used it as a reference point in the piece. Like Saka went into that with a knock, and I think that's been a problem of ours this season. You know, Ben White didn't have the best of games away at Newcastle. But he was playing with a knock. There's been times Tomiyasu, Partey. Again, I guess there'll never be an ideal condition for a footballer and things, but you know, some could be done better. Again, where do you look at the medical department at Arsenal? Because I do think it's harsh, but it does feel like we either players that are never injured come here, they can't stay fit, and we've been dealt a really short hand. So where are you at with that?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because I'm not really privy to what goes on.
Neither am I. That's why I asked you.
So I'm not sure like the full insight I can give on that, but I know there is definitely care that is taken. So in terms of, I remember, so for this piece that is going out tomorrow, it's around kind of data and stuff like that, physical data, around kind of academy recruitment mostly. But I did do a kind of similar piece in around October, I think, where like I spoke to Callum Chambers for that, and I asked him during it, like basically what is training like the training week, and he said, for instance, at Arsenal, I don't know if it's the same at other clubs, but players who don't start on the weekend will have the more intense training sessions at the start of the week, and then it'll reverse like that. So it's not like they don't know what they're doing. But I'm not really privy to exactly everything that goes on in terms of medical stuff, but definitely hope to see some improvements because like you said, you can't have your best players unavailable for long stretches of the season. I think Tomiyasu is probably the biggest example of that for this season just gone.
Like you said, man, and then obviously you've got Partey and Tierney, where probably as football fans we was waiting for it. And ironically, in the topic of Nelson, again, the two are not interlinked, but I always look at it as, I think when Nelson kind of got his groin injury, he kind of spoke about how the sessions are in a degree more intense at Feyenoord than at Arsenal. So it got me thinking, like, what are we doing? Are we doing something that's maybe too specific? And then obviously when it comes to our young players, there's an issue. Moving away from that though, man. Eddie Nketiah new deal. What'd you make of it? What'd you make of, what'd you make of it? You know, this 100K a week. We'll probably get it. Ornstein's come out, your colleague, and said, you know what, it's looking like Gab Jesus and Eddie Nketiah to lead the line. Do you think that's enough in terms of output to actually challenge for top four, go as far in the domestic cups and et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I think in terms of Eddie, it's quite, I know we've talked about this before as well, but when you look at player power, it's a very it's a really interesting case study if you want to look at it that way, because Nketiah's basically backed himself from minute one of the season starting in not signing, and said basically, give me an opportunity and I'll take it, and that's exactly what happened. So with that, all the cards on his table basically
controls the power.
I think in terms of Arsenal's position, they almost have to offer him that contract because they don't want to lose him for free, even if he's not, like, say, starting striker quality. If you lose a talent like that, English under 23 talent, for
money,
free,
bro.
basically,
cash, bro.
And especially considering how selling has been a weakness for Arsenal for a long time as well, that would have just almost compounded that issue. So I think in Arsenal's perspective, they probably had to do that. And I don't think it's the worst thing in the world because, as you said earlier, not just the IQ has got better, but the technique's got better. His all-round game's got better as the season's gone on. And I think when he did get that chance to start over I think it was 8 games,
He's taking
it wasn't just the goals that were impressing people. It was the fact that, unlike Lacazette, he was actually able to stretch defenses. He was able to move with the ball. And I think
in fouls, press high up the pitch
exactly
consistently, not gas out after 60 minutes. To be fair to Lacazette, you're right.
So
still.
yeah, I think having someone who just gives you a bit more flexibility in what you do definitely helps. In terms of Gabriel Jesus, I feel like he's not the killer that personally I would have gone for if this was my FM save. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
no, you're right. Still, you're right. I got Darwin Núñez, a bit struggling. Silly, you spent the bag for him, but it's cool.
So yeah, I feel like he's one where, and it's weird because I feel like people think just because he's at Man City, he's going to have an easy time. But when you look at the way City play, most of their chances aren't going to their strikers. They're going to the inside wingers. They're going to the players who play in the half spaces. They're not going to the striker.
Clean up front, yeah.
So when it does actually come to the times where he does get chances, it's either back post where sometimes he should be finishing, or it's in a crowded area where he's having to work unbelievably hard to get a shot off. Facts. So that's kind of an interesting side of his game. I'm not sure if that's the right terminology again, but I don't think people really take notice of that just because he's at Man City, because I think when you look at it, he probably does have to work more harder than some strikers to get opportunities because of how packed those boxes can be, because everyone's playing a deep block against Man City. And then when you consider that was probably where Arsenal were struggling last season against teams who were playing in a deep
very
block.
narrow, congested, deep block, 2 banks before we struggled. Still, we did. You need at home comes to mind.
You need other ways to kind of break that down. So I think I'd be interested to see, because he has got good feet. I feel like he can get out of trouble. It's just he's not as clinical as I probably would like, but still an interesting kind of striker. And obviously fits the profile of what Arteta wants in a striker as well.
Do you think we're like bankers? For me, I definitely am. Like, do you think we're banking on the fact of he's never really been given an extended run up front? Like, I think he's got 8 goals in the Premier League. 4 of them came in a game. I do look at it like there is some qualities. I can see why Arteta likes him. He's, as described by the Brazil gaffer, one of the best pressing forwards in the world. You know, Pep doesn't play down his team aspect, but as you said, ultimately, no matter how much the modern game advances, goals, and he's not exactly the clinical one. If we looked at it on a harsh one, Eddie's got 5 in 21. My man's got 8 goals this season. You add that together, it's not really significant progress to the 90, 100 goal mark Mikel Arteta was talking about. Yeah, we've got the Haaland boys, but they're learning how to score goals. We can't guarantee that they're going to do it. So it's almost like you said with the Nelson thing. It's when the season then becomes crunch time, when you just need to get the results. You saw what Ronaldo could spur. I mean, United could be a lot worse without Ronaldo. You saw what Kane's done. Kane took half the season off, and he's got decent numbers. Son as well. So it's almost like I'm kind of just giving myself give him an opportunity through the 9 and see what he can do. But then it's catch-22. It's almost like people think signing a midfielder or a number 9 makes the job done. Signing them is one thing. We need consistent movement, and I think that's kind of why we've been able to break down low blocks. Too many times we've played side with passes, but people have looked up. There's not too much, you know. The Saka into the channels or Martinelli into the channels, it gets read. It gets clocked by teams, and I think you saw that at Newcastle away. So if I would like someone that could do what Gab Jesus does, obviously scores, and at a push be a bit more of a physical attribute, because I have really liked Eddie Nketiah's improvement physically, like the fouls he's won, the fact that he forces mistakes. I wouldn't even rule out him playing on the left-hand side if that's a way to get in. I wouldn't rule it out, fam. That's
a shout, because he did that I know it's only pre-season, but him and Bellerin were playing out left last pre-season, and it was just interesting seeing, even though it didn't lead to them playing there long term. Although Bellerin did play in a 2 on the left at Middlesbrough. I think that in terms of development just helps them kind of understand their roles even better. And yeah, because I remember a few days after the Newcastle game, because that's that theme of almost, okay, Arsenal concede, then the opposition team just sits back, soaks up pressure, Arsenal try and go wide. That's a theme that's been present throughout the season. So after
Very
the Newcastle
prominent
game,
facts.
luckily I was able to ask Arteta about it, and he was actually okay with talking about it. And the kind of things
See,
he
I
was
just
talking
casually said I asked Arteta people. Oh god, we were trying to be like you, man.
but what he was kind of saying was there's obviously a few different factors into that. One being sometimes it's the first pass. So, for instance, at Newcastle, you saw Ramsdale was a bit shaky with that first pass, and that just allowed Newcastle to be way more aggressive.
High, take it off us, and
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think when okay, getting that right is one thing, but then sometimes it can be the structure, which I mean, 3-5-2 with Martinelli left wing back is not going to work.
It's not going to happen, man.
And
Definitely
I think
not there as well.
And another thing was the areas you want to play in for the next 5 minutes of a game. And I think that's probably one of the most major ones, because Arsenal, for all the improvements this season in terms of the way they move the ball up the pitch when they're in control, I think they struggle to change the dynamic of a game when it goes against them.
When variables are thrown our way, yep, 100%.
And I think that having options to do that, whether it is with one up top or say a striker out wide who can come in as a 2, I think you need different options, and the squad size last season just didn't cater to that. So that's something that definitely needs addressing, kind of going into next season. And I think I want to see a few different ways for Arsenal to attack a game. Hopefully that happens. I don't know if it will.
I got to ask you for one name as well, Gnabry, man. I know you feel the same way I do about potentially, if that ever happened, where you at with potentially Gnabry returning? Now, obviously, you don't know, I don't know whether it could happen, but theoretically, where you at, man? The prodigal son returns home, unfinished business, could play as a false 9, left, right. He's not Haaland, but he's basically Haaland, London goalie. So it all makes sense. It all makes sense, bro. He's the reason my YouTube career started. Full circle business, bro. Where you at with that?
So I've got the German shirt from the Euros, the black one, over there. And the other day I had plaits in. I've taken my hair out now. I thought to myself, I don't know, like little Gnabry kind of vibes, but I think in terms of actually realistic, I don't know how realistic that is. I haven't really heard anything about that happening properly. Obviously, I've seen all the excitement on Twitter and that, but I mean, if it was to be potentially, obviously it's a no-brainer. Go and do it. But then again, it's Serge Gnabry. He's not Serge Gnabry of 2015 at West Brom. It's Serge Gnabry,
big homie now,
who's won the Champions League, who's been at Bayern for seasons now. I think you're gonna have to come to the table with something
serious stuff. Money, trophies.
It can't just be a sentimental. Come back to Arsenal. I don't think that would work with any player, even if they've been at Arsenal before. I think players,
especially at his age now,
exactly. I think it's their career, and they're not going to want to take a backward step just for vibes. I think
literally. No, you said it there, for vibes. That's what it would be. It'd be a bit like Pogba's return to United. I know he won trophies there, but once you get past the euphoria, you want to know how he's going to play, how he's going to enhance, how he's going to move this system along. Because Gnabry is 26, 27. He's someone I would describe as he's for the present, a bit like Xhaka and Partey. What we do with these guys sets up the futures of Saka. Martin Odegaard, etc. So we'd have to know. And you said it there. You'd have to come with a serious package financially. You can't, it's going to have to be maybe something along the lines of maybe less, maybe more of what Aubameyang had. He'd have to be one of the top earners. So these resources are going to have to be utilized. I would love the guy, but whether it happens is another thing. It's gone a bit quiet, but it's still prominent, definitely where midfield is concerned. Where are you at with Telemans? You having that?
I am. I know, like, of you've gone. Oh no, you froze for a second, but now you're back.
Yeah,
At my
did you hear what I said? I said, what would you make of Telemans, bro?
Yeah, I know it kind of splits opinion on Twitter, but I don't really see it as a bad kind of target. I feel like he's someone, especially if you're looking to go into that 4-3-3 full time, then
Fits it.
I think go for it. Obviously, he does have, say, limitations in terms of athleticism, but I feel like if you're a team that wants to control the ball, he's a very good player to have. Not just because he can score from outside the box, but he can play off both feet very well.
He wants
He
it
actually
as well.
he actually moves with the ball fairly well too, and I think he just adds another base kind of base level of quality. And you know me as well. I love a technician. So, well, a technician that can move mostly.
Just, that'd be lit.
So, yeah, I don't really see Tielemans as a bad addition. But the one thing I'd say as well is it can't be the only addition in midfield because
I'm happy you said that. Do you think it would be?
I'm not sure, to be fair. I know going into the summer, it's not. I doubt it's going to be like last summer where they kind of just bought any and everyone under the age of 23. But I think you definitely need additions in quality because when, say, Partey gets injured, I know Elneny did fairly well at the back end of the year, but you kind of want someone with a bit more quality on the ball to actually cement your place.
Facts.
On where you're supposed to be. So that's kind of my view on it.
Would you say that he'd have to move on from? I do think I want to be very careful when I speak about Granit Xhaka. I wouldn't quite say underappreciating. Does he polarize opinion? Yeah, I think when it's all said and done, he's one of our better performers. I do think he's never injured, which is a bonus. I do see what he brings to the team. I do see the mentality. However, I just feel, in my opinion, despite all of this, you're only going to get certain places with him as you're somewhat regular. The team's running through you and things like that. Do you think Arteta what do you think it would mean for Xhaka? And do you think Arteta is arguably going to replace that? Because on one hand, you could say it makes sense to bring in Basuma or do something for that Partey presence. But also, we're going to live or die by our midfield of Granit Xhaka. He's not exactly bad. He's not exactly good at specifically distributing the balls, but he's just not going to get to the next level. Had to. That one there, almost played myself into that.
Oh my God.
But I had to pause that. But it's like, I just feel we're never going to see a better Bukayo. I just have this theory that you will see a better Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, etc. once that midfield is sorted, man. So where are you at with that?
I just took me off guard. Oh
I had to, man. Something went off in my head. I tried to just say it so that it was said, but it didn't mess up the flow of it.
Oh, so with Xhaka, I feel like it's probably. I feel like it'd be quite an open situation. This isn't me talking like facts, but when you look at how last summer played out, it's very clear that if Roma matched Arteta and Arsenal's valuation for him, they would have let him go to Roma. Then Roma didn't do that, so they gave him a new contract, which was in all aspects to protect his value. So I think if things played out in a similar way this summer, I wouldn't be surprised if he decided to move on. I know, obviously, he kind of talks as if he's staying at Arsenal for the rest of his life, but I think we all know, like, if something came up, then he'd probably take it, I'd say. And I think, again, it's probably a case where either way, whatever happens, I think Arteta would be fine. If they were to say part ways this summer, then it's time to not. I say revamp is probably an extreme word.
I don't think you're wrong. I know where this is getting. Upgrade the midfield. Like that is a chance.
Get people who can move in that midfield.
What would you say to cut you? Would you say beyond the obvious? Would you say we'd miss Xhaka? Because Arteta makes a big case of what a character he is. Tavares did an interview the other day, and I think when it's all said and done, I listen. If we're trying to build something new, we can't keep people. I hate with that whole good for the young players, good character, all of that. It shouldn't be a thing, but I do think we would lack that. Like, I think we'd lose something with Xhaka. It's almost like, it's not that I don't want to lose him. As you said, if Roma come, they come. And I'm more happy with the fact of it would force Arteta to sign a midfielder, kind of what I wanted to see with this rebuild last summer. Do you think we'd miss him, though? Because there has been, you know, as much as it's about talent, it is about mentality at this football club.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's one thing you can't question with Xhaka, especially in certain environments and scenarios and things.
Yeah, I think he would be missed in certain aspects, and especially like football's not just won because a player can kick a ball well. You actually have to be able to see through a match, and I think obviously it does backfire for Xhaka sometimes, quite often.
Quite frequent, yeah.
But as you mentioned, he is one of the few players who's consistently showed what he's about, showed personality, and I think if you were to say part ways this summer, you do lose that with him. It's then who are the next players who are going to be able to say, I'm the guy, I have personality, I can see through this game.
This is the thing. Facts.
And I think, I'm not sure if you can almost, this kind of gets into maybe the players you try to recruit as well, because I don't feel like you can't learn those kind of characteristics.
You kind of got to have it in you, sort of thing. Yeah.
So it's a really difficult one because there should
be leaders in that squad. Odegaard, Lokonga, big song and dance about being captains before we obviously signed them and that. Yeah,
I think that's probably where you saw the recruitment in that sense with those two. I mean, I think it's pretty clear to everyone with Odegaard. Obviously, Lokonga's standing in the squad's not as high, so you're probably not seeing it
right now. Yeah,
but it is an interesting one. I think who are the next guys? I think Gabriel probably is another one who kind of shows that, and Ramsdale as well. But you kind of just need a solid core group
as well. But
so yeah, it is definitely kind of an interesting one because you definitely would lose certain aspects, but then in the football sense as well, I think you'd probably be able to have an advantage in certain aspects because you may be able to get better quality in the squad, or a more rounded skill set in the midfield is probably a better way of phrasing it. So yeah,
you're right there. My last question to you, kind of a double-edged one in two. What do you make of Arteta's new deal, and do you feel there should be some level of expectations on him to deliver? Because although we and you both know the project we're doing and all these things, there still isn't the beautiful thing about football. There's still an element of today, and you know, top four. While on one hand we weren't expected to get it in August, and many people would have taken it. The dynamic shift, and fundamentally, whether it's how we started this season, whether it's doing or not doing things in January, whether it was the players and the managers in this last sort of lap of the season, we kind of fumbled it. And whatever way we look at it, the goal is to get back in there. Money's been spent, new deals been landed. Surely there's got to be a degree of expectations now.
Yeah, I think I'll start on that. You need expectation. Like,
facts.
Who's going into next season without expectation, especially after how
what Edu might say in his interviews as well. What going?
But yeah, I think no one should be scared of expectation next season, because at the end of the day, you're looking to improve, and I think the main thing is it's the players and Arteta and his coaching staff that have to prove it. So I don't feel like anyone's under any illusions that there needs to be another kind of step up from what happened in this season just gone.
Amen.
So, and also the thing that kind of, I don't know if it helps or hinders expectation, but there's clear, what's the word? Sorry.
Like
clear themes that need to be addressed.
Yeah.
So if you say what we just spoke about in terms of the profile of the midfield, then if you want to look at a more broad theme, how they respond to adversity in both in game and post game, because when you look at the themes that almost derailed their season, it is, say, going to Tottenham, and it's before the first goal even
It's
happened.
how you set it. You can
It's
see these things.
because
Same
they
with Newcastle.
started fairly well in terms of being able to press high.
We got
But
gas
then
the first 10 minutes. Well, guys,
exact first 10 minutes, but
gonna
then
do it.
no, but so if
And then we
one
bottled
part
it.
of your plan goes okay, but then when you look at the back half of the team, Rob Holding is man marking Son. If one
In a
part
flat
of your
backfield 4.
in a 4, if one part of your setup is good, but the other half is subpar, it's not a good setup overall. So that's where I feel like just the kind of game management needs to kind of
Amen.
improve. And then also, as we spoke about in kind of length earlier, how they actually go about coming from behind in games when teams are just going to sit back and defend low. So you kind of got clear
Facts.
targets, I guess, to go for.
Be a bit more street smart as well, without a doubt.
Exactly. So I think expectations fine heading into next season. In terms of the contract itself, I don't know. I was just like, it's gonna happen anyway. Like,
What do you make of the timing? Because many
timing,
people, like, I agree with you. It's like it was always going to happen. Arguably, this season is. I don't like the word free hit, but it's like it kind of is a free hit. We kind of know the expect. We just needed to get back into Europe. But I understand why some fans would have been, all right, why don't you just wait to the end of the season, especially when emotions are raw. It was always going to happen. He said they offered it to him when he lost his 3 games. I don't know how people are. I don't know, but where are you at with that?
Well, I feel like the timing's probably just almost for them to show everyone they were going to do it, whatever happened. It was probably more that than anything, because if they did it after they crashed out of, say, top 4, then I don't know what the view would have been of it. But I don't think the timing was that major a deal, really. I just feel like, it was going to happen anyway. So why wait, really?
Why wait, yeah. Would you say it was a hindrance, or like, because I don't know, how would I articulate this? Obviously, on one hand, it must feel good as a club, like as someone that manages the team, the club is backing you regardless. Like it could obviously help you and enable you to do better, but could also be a hindrance, because with great power comes great responsibility. When you're
what a line!
It has to be. Word to Spider-Man, because you're the manager now. You're not the head coach. You've been picked over all of the beasts with the big players. You know, money's been spent. You know, we're probably going to spend something decent. You've got a very good relationship with Josh Kroenke, it appears, and they similar to what they do at other projects. They seem to be building it around you. And like you said, the timing of the contract, he was going to kind of get it regardless. So would you say it enables him and makes his job easier? Because, okay, internally, it's peace of mind. But then no matter what, you can't control the external. It kind of brings on more pressure because people could be forgiven for saying at times Wenger and Emery weren't afforded certain luxuries that you have. And also, I think we do need to remember, as much as I like Arteta, that we're kind of he's our manager, but we're kind of doing him a favor. Like, it's very extraordinary how he got the role, really. Shout out to him. So yeah, do you think it enables his job, or kind of puts a hindrance going into next season?
I think it should. I don't think it would hinder anything. I think when you have that certainty, that probably wouldn't get elsewhere. So if you look at, say, Everton and Spurs, they appointed Ancelotti and Mourinho at the same time.
Yeah,
they didn't get that certainty. So I think you definitely have benefits from that. It's just about how you deal with it, because as you mentioned, there's probably been a lot of external kind of issues that have come in that you can't predict. So it's how you react to those.
Amen.
Which is probably almost more important than having that certainty, because that is what people are actually going to judge you on. So yeah, I think having that almost security shouldn't really be viewed as a hindrance, because it kind of just gives you that foundation to work from. Makes
sense. All right, so last question for you. Obviously, I'll ask you this. I'll get you on again a couple of times before the season starts, God willing. What's the targets for next season? Without
top four.
obviously signings, everything. I love it. I love it. This is why I love speaking to you. You can't. Yes, thank you.
I mean, it has to be. I know you're probably not going to be able to predict what happens in terms of how teams strengthen going into next season.
Amen.
But I think that has to be the objective now, because you obviously people wouldn't have expected Arsenal to get top four this season just gone, but they showed that they can be in and around that mix.
We let ourselves down. Like
Exactly.
we imploded before we talk about how good other people are and things, which a lot of it is true. We self-imploded, bro. So I'm with you with that, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's fair for that to be the kind of target, because again, they've got a very good squad. Or actually, I don't know, squad might be too far for me to say right now, because
got a good core. Could be developing
a good. They got a good core. They got quality players in that core. Now they just need to build around that and have an actual foundation of a proper squad.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for next season. So yeah, hopefully that's all right.
In fact, last question, yeah. It probably is Saka. So no, Saka's not a question, yeah. Player of the season, underwhelmer of the season. You can't say Saka because you're probably like me. It probably is Saka.
Yeah, like it's annoying because I feel like Saka's like the kind of just go-to for everyone because he played every game, even though he should not
carry the club on the shoulders.
He should not have played every game, in my opinion. But we'll
shouldn't have either, bro. But that will be it for another live stream.
Yeah, we'll leave that for another time.
Killed him.
I feel like player for me it's either Erdegaard or Tomiyasu.
Fair.
I find it really hard to separate them because I feel Erdegaard
value
obviously
for money, man. Crazy value.
Erdegaard kind of started a bit slow, but then when he came into the kind of his rhythm, I don't think Arsenal would have been anywhere near top four without that. And when you consider Arsenal and a possession-based team, attacking team, that's what you need.
That's the player you want. Yeah, literally. That's an Arsene Wenger player. I would have loved him to play under Wenger too. It's been amazing.
So that's kind of, I don't know, that's leaning towards me saying Erdegaard over Tomiyasu, but I really do like Tomiyasu. And I think he done tremendously well. It's just a shame that he missed about 3 months of the season. Gabriel's a shout from Ak Brava. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Gabriel's a big shout, but I think those two are probably my top two picks other than Saka.
Excluding Saka, I'm kind of with you, man. I mean, Odegaard's been a breath of fresh air. Would like him to impose himself in terms of technically and kind of run the game similar to Santi to a degree, but in terms of his development and the personnel behind him, I don't think that's possible. Physically, he could improve. I think he could score more goals, but he got 7 and 4 in terms of 7 goals, 4 assists. So I think there's something with him. Tomiyasu, the only thing you can say is he's not been able to stay fit in this latter stage of the season, but he's been a breath of fresh air. You know, I do, again, similar to themes of the whole season, I think Smith Rowe would have been up there for me, kind of took a tail off. Ramsdale the same. So I think I'm with you between Odegaard and Tomiyasu. I wouldn't say either, but I do think when Partey played, he set down a marker, kind of the same themes with him, that fit and injured, but he was good. I wouldn't say Xhaka would be mine, but I just feel he's kind of damned if he do, damned if he didn't. Like, clearly he's a limited player. There's not much about him, but I don't think he's as amazing as Xhaka sexuals make out. He's not as bad as, I have to call him that. He's not as bad as people get onto him about. I do think if I was to say top 5 performers or top 6, he wouldn't be first, but I think he might be 5th or something.
But, I mean, the good thing is that there's options. Like,
that's the thing. Yeah, they never knew him normally is.
Season before this one just gone, it would have been Saka, Smith Rowe, maybe Erdegaard, who was on loan.
Yeah.
Outside of those 3, I don't really. No one comes to mind really. So the fact there's you can at least fill that 5 top 5 performers. You can fill that easily. I guess shows where they're at. So yeah, hopefully that continues.
Calm, man. Obviously, what content you got to come out? You mentioned an article tomorrow. Make sure you're following him on Twitter and Twitch. People, links have been posted. Make sure you're doing that. what you got to come?
So yeah, a little kind of data piece tomorrow around how Arsenal kind of recruit academy wise. So not anything really to do with the first team, but just more of an insight kind of thing.
Makes
Then
sense.
later in the week, probably some analysis on strikers and stuff. And then when I think probably going to try and spread some stuff out over the next few weeks before I go on holiday. And then I'll probably try and play some games on Twitch as well.
Make sure you're following him on Twitch, man. FM, Harry Potter, the rest, bare things, people. Make sure you're following on that, man. Oh, it's been a pleasure to have you, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate all your talking points, giving up your time. And obviously, it seems like the people in the chat were fond of it, man. So, yeah, man, I'm going to let you get on with your day. One love for supporting my guy. Appreciative to everybody who's commented. Once again, make sure you're following out on all his socials. Make sure you're aware of The Athletic as well. I mean, I don't watch many of the people on The Athletic, but listen, he's one of them. If it's not him, Ornstein, or what's the other one? Amy Lawrence. I don't want to know, to be fair with you, man. Shout all the rest I've missed out. But yeah, people, hit the like button. We're out. In terms of FM, hopeless top four shout continue at 4:30. We keep going, innit? We keep fighting. We keep fighting. Like until the what did Wenger used to say? Until the final whistle, we shall fight.
It's mathematically impossible.
Literally, we keep fighting. That's exactly what I'm doing, man. The target is Champions League. There was no targets in mind at the start of this season either. So I sympathize with a lot of it, man. But people, on a serious note, we're out, man. Safe.
There's always just that active red flag defending.
I think it's like